Chapter 151. Li Sun didn't want to wait any longer. There were a total of 133 people. The older ones were 77 people, while the younger ones were 58 people. In fact, there were 56 people, including Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who weren't old enough. The total number of people was 135. The intelligence game in Shuiyan restaurant was still going on. According to the schedule, it would take at least half a month before it would end. Not only did the restaurant earn that bit of money from advertising, they also earned more money from the food and wine than before. The people in the 14 shops prepared everything that needed to be prepared. More than 100 children were not ordinary people. If they liked something, their business would be much better in the future. The people of the carriage shop drove the beautiful carriages to Tuqiao village. Early the next morning, the children arrived at the place accompanied by their families. They were all dressed up beautifully. No one knew whether they were preparing to go on an outing or to stay on the grassland for a few days. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were close to each other. After tidying up, he carried a bag and was brought out by his family. Wang Wan's father originally wanted to follow, but after being persuaded by Wang Wan, he finally stayed. The 4 people who followed them were 2 Zhuangzi, 2 men and 2 women. The women were responsible for serving, and the men were naturally to protect. Li Sun also brought a lot of people out. Since he was organizing an activity, he naturally had to take care of others. When everyone got on the carriages, the team went in the direction of Luochuan County. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sat in the middle and began to sleep. They were preparing to rest and play there. The other children were excited. Sometimes they would stop the carriages, jump off and go into other people's carriages to talk. Sometimes they would run a few steps with the team. They seemed to have unlimited energy. The adults didn't care, as long as the children were not in danger. This time, they all thought that they could bring their children to play, especially with the imperial nephew. This kind of thing was not easy to encounter. Seeing their own children running around, they thought it was a good thing. At least it showed that their children were capable and had endless energy. When they arrived at the ranch, they would definitely be better than other children. In the end, a journey that took more than a day took them 2 days to arrive. They even rested a few times on the way. After all, children were still young. When they were tired from playing, they didn't need to sleep. They wanted to eat good food. The carriages stopped, and the children came out of their respective carriages. They looked at the seemingly endless grassland in front of them and felt curious. Then they looked at the children next to them, and a desire to compete arose in their hearts. When Father Zhang told Li Sun about this, he didn't mention any details. Li Sun found someone to figure out a way, which was to tell the children which direction to walk in. How much distance to walk each day would depend on each child's ability. In order to allow the children to identify the direction, there were flags planted every few dozen feet on the grassland. There were also people guarding the places not too far away. As long as a child ran to the wrong place, these people would go and correct it. In order to train the children, Li Sun thought of a way, which was to not allow the children to bring their own food. All the food on the children's bodies had to be taken away. They could only eat a meal when they woke up in the morning. There was no food for lunch, and at night someone would set up a tent to cook for them. This time, he was determined to make these children suffer a little. He did the same for himself. The snacks in Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's bags were taken away. The 2 of them didn't plan to eat it first, but they brought them with them just in case. The group of children rested for the night. Early the next morning, they all excitedly got up, dressed, and started to move forward with the group. As soon as they set off, the children, except for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, all ran forward like wild horses. Even Li Sun was no exception. Let's go, we don't have to hope to catch any game. They've cleaned up this place. Let's eat some grass for lunch. Wang Wan saw Zhang Xiaobao looking around and thought he wanted to catch something for lunch. She persuaded him and walked forward first. Zhang Xiaobao looked around again, then looked up at the blue sky. He took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. Following behind Wang Wan, he said at the same time, I don't expect to catch anything. I just want to see what kind of grass is growing. When the time comes, I'll dig something out from under the grass to eat. Did you find anything? Wang Wan saw several kinds of wild vegetables. On this side of the pasture, the grass was not low. Even if it was specially cleaned, some of it was still more than half a meter tall. She and Zhang Xiaobao walked in the grass that was waist-deep. Fortunately, some of the grass had been specially cut to feed the horses, so there was still a path. There are a few kinds of insects that usually have pupae under them. We'll dig some up and pickle them with salt. When the time comes, we can eat them to kill the living parasites. Zhang Xiaobao touched the grass beside him with his foot and said. Wang Wan nodded. She also knew that these things could be eaten after they were dug up. Some of them had parasites on them, which had a very small probability of causing people to get sick. They could be killed with salt. Even if eating them directly was not dangerous, it was still better to avoid it. The two of them walked at the very back. Naturally, there were adults following behind them. Some were specially sent by Li Sun to protect them, and some were parents who wanted to see how brave their children were. At this time, when they saw the two children walking at the very back, they felt that they were much worse than their own children who ran at the front. They shook their heads, thinking that the two children would not hold on for long and would leave here crying. Li Cheng, those two children are from the Zhuangzi school of Zhang family and Wang family, right? They walk a little slower, far worse than the children they sent to Zhuangzi. They don't have the drive of other children. Li Sun's teacher, who was the middle-aged man, also followed behind. After seeing Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao, he said to Li Cheng beside him, what the adults said is right. After all, they are only 2 years old. They are a little worse than others. I have already asked people to be fully prepared. There will not be any danger. Li Cheng also thought so and echoed on the side. The other adults were walking there and talking, one by one. They were so excited like children. They specifically compared Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to their own children. Big brother Xian, you see, even these two children have come here. They are simply fooling around. Looking at them, I don't know how many days it would take for them to reach their destination. I saw that brat of yours just now. He ran so fast. Good, he really has the demeanor of big brother Xian in the past. An adult looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and said to another person beside him. That person's face showed a smile and also said, Brother Lei, what are you talking about? That kid of yours is also not ordinary. It seems that he was the second to run out. Look, now we can't even see his shadow. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan naturally did not know that the two of them had become negative teaching materials in the mouth of others. They had become the targets of criticism. The two of them walked for a while, then stopped and used a small shovel to dig a few times. Some were tender wild vegetables, some were small pupae in the soil, and some were even dug out a few earthworms. From the bag, they took out a small box made of iron and put these things in it. They sprinkled some salt on it and continued to move forward and continue to dig. Starting from 7 in the morning, 2 hours quietly passed in the process of children running and jumping. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also prepared enough food for lunch and dinner. They organized their backpacks and began to speed up. The two of them walked back and forth with their heads down alternately. The person walking in front was responsible for looking at the road, while the person following behind was relaxed and only followed the person in front of them at the same pace. This way, they could reduce the consumption of energy and physical strength. The same pace allowed them to reduce the resistance of the grass in the process. Big brother Xian, you see, the two little guys are anxious. Unfortunately, at this time, if they want to rush, they will be tired. The children in front have already run far away. When the person surnamed Lei saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan speed up, he began to speak to the person next to him. The person surnamed Xian also nodded and agreed. Isn't that so? It's too late. We can't see the children's shadows now. They will not be able to continue walking after a while. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan heard the words of others this time. After all, these people were closely behind the two of them. At the same time, the two of them sighed in their hearts. They did not know anything, yet they dared to criticize. Who did not know that running faster would increase the distance between them? But there was nothing to eat at noon, only the water they each brought. When the afternoon came, they would see who would be the one to pull the other apart. The two of them did not say a word. They adjusted the frequency of their breathing, adjusted their walking posture, and chased forward little by little. Another 2 hours passed, and the sun in the sky seemed to be a little brighter. The children running in front of them finally ran out of strength. Each and every one of them was hungry, and they kept drinking water. Every few flags in front of them, there would be some water for them to drink. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan rushed all the way and finally saw the figures of the children in front of them. They rushed forward again. Some of the 5 to 8 years old children in front of them had stopped running and were lying there to rest. Some continued to persist, wanting to pull the others further away. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came to a place where water was provided and stopped. They took out 2 iron bowls from their bags, one big and one small. The big one had a diameter of 20 centimeters, and the small one was about 10 centimeters. After the 2 bowls were placed properly, they took out a paper bag from their backpack. After opening it, they poured the small white pieces and powder inside into the big bowl. Then, they put the small bowl into the big bowl. After adding some water, they put the collected wild vegetables and insects into the small bowl. Then, they took the water that was prepared and poured it into the powder in the big bowl. The powder immediately began to bubble and release a large amount of heat. The two of them looked at the small bowl and poured some of the powder into the big bowl from time to time. After pouring the 3rd bag, the water in the small bowl finally began to boil, and the things inside became soup. Chapter 152. Let's eat. In the end, Xiaobao sprinkled some ginger foam on top of the soup, and the two of them started eating. It didn't take long for the soup to reach their stomachs. The adults who were following behind them and commenting on them couldn't say a word at this time. They were shocked by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's behavior. It turned out that they were digging for lunch. These 2 little guys were really too scary. Survival in the wild. Look at them. This is what it means to survive in the wild. When other children were hungry, they were eating so happily. Which family's children were these? That was incredible. Brother Lei, it seems that our children have to go hungry. I don't know if they still have the strength to run in the afternoon. The person surnamed Xin didn't dare to look down on Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan anymore. They actually knew how to find something to eat. The distance in front of them wasn't far. Not only could they catch up with them in the afternoon, but it would also be easy to overtake them. Yes, who asked them to only care about playing? Sigh. Big brother Xin. Just now did you see clearly what the two of them took out? I'll get someone to make it today and give it to the children tomorrow. At this time, the person surnamed Lei felt his face burning. Just now, he kept saying bad things about the children. This was not good, and that was not good. Now, he looked at them. They were the ones who had the ability. Or rather, the adults were not ordinary. They could actually teach the children these things. Even if they didn't have the tools, they wouldn't starve to death by eating raw food. If he really left his children, and these 2 children in a deserted place, not to mention whether there would be wolves and snakes, even if they were hungry, they would starve to death. But other people's children didn't have to worry. The person surnamed Xin nodded, and then shook his head. Look carefully. These are some small tools. There is lime in them, but we can't give them to the children. Do they know what is edible? What is not edible? What if they are poisoned? Forget it. Let's give them a good meal tonight. While they were talking, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had already continued on their way. They washed their food utensils with water and put them into their backpacks. Once again, they walked towards their destination with their heads down. This set of actions could be said to be done calmly, steadily, and patiently. There was no expression of excitement on his face, as if everything should be like this, as if he had already done it countless times. The hearts of the adults who were looking at them were surging with monstrous waves. The two children were really too steady, making people feel that the two of them were very confident. They would not shrink back, nor would they cry. Then they looked at the children who were still lying on the ground and crying out that they were hungry. Almost all of them sighed. They couldn't compare. My lord, what do you think about this? Li Chung also saw and smelled the fragrance of the soup. He also hadn't eaten. Just now, he couldn't wait to grab a few mouthfuls. It was just that he was a little disgusted. Those were all kinds of insects. He didn't know how the two children could eat so happily. The middle-aged man's eyes were fixed on Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He also didn't know who taught these two children. Previously, he said that they couldn't compare with the children in Zhuangzi. He didn't expect that this was wrong. Tenacity and perseverance were the best evaluation of these two children. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Zhuangzi. Where did they find the person to teach the children of the villagers and their own children? Good ability. My lord, you. Li Chung saw that the adult beside him was staring at the two children, so he had to ask again. Well, I know. Write this down. You saw the things they used just now, right? Go back and make a set. Be sure to keep an eye on them and see what other skills they have. The middle-aged man sighed and said. Li Chung nodded and asked again, My lord, I'm talking about these children. What should we do? Don't we give them food? Do you think they can still hold on? No, they won't starve to death. Since they are here, they should be prepared to suffer. They just saw that they can make food. Why can't they think of something? Li Chung, let me ask you. Can you eat those things I gave you? The middle-aged man glanced at the children who were resting on the ground and refused to give him food. He then asked Li Chung again. I can eat, but the little ones must be disgusting. Unless there is really no food, I can only eat if I don't starve to death. Li Chung recalled the things that the two children ate. It was indeed a little disgusting. At the same time, he admired Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan even more. The children lying on the ground looked at the adults here, including their families. They kept saying that they were hungry, hoping that the adults could give them something to eat. The adults were really distressed, but they didn't dare to find something for the children to eat. The others didn't eat, so why should they give them food? The imperial nephew was also hungry, so he could only come over and persuade the children to endure until the evening. If they really couldn't, they should drink more water to fill their stomachs first. Why did the two who just passed by have something to eat? I smell it. It's so fragrant. The children who didn't eat seriously in the morning were so hungry that they couldn't bear it anymore. They pointed at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's figures and questioned the adults. That's what they found themselves. If you have the ability, you can also find it. Look at the ground. What kind of grass can be eaten? You can eat it. The middle-aged man came close at this time and taught the complaining children a lesson. The children knew that they couldn't afford to offend this person, so they didn't make a sound. They didn't even complain that they were hungry. They took the water bag next to them and drank it. Drinking water was better than being hungry. After drinking the water, they began to run forward again. If they didn't run to the destination, they couldn't eat. They could withdraw. As long as they withdrew, they could eat whatever they wanted. Otherwise, they had to reach the destination today, where there were already tents set up. The adults followed from behind again. They also didn't eat. If the children didn't eat, they also couldn't eat. As they walked, they also asked about the names of the two children and which families they were from. Li Chung was given a lot of benefits. Finally, he sold Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He pointed at the 4 people in the team and said, They are from their family. Do you see those 4 people? They are the people sent by their family. Those 2 children are the little ancestors of the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family of Tuqiao village. After he pointed, everyone's eyes fell on the 4 people. Pomegranate led the other 3. Now, they all puffed out their chests and had a proud look on their faces. Just now, they had heard all the praises of the young master and young lady. The honor of the master was also their honor. Pomegranate also thought in her heart, If these people know that the young master and young lady are only 2 years old, they will be even more surprised. It's not wrong to follow such a master. The crowd followed them forward. Some of the children in front were unwilling to continue to follow the children who were shouting that they were hungry, so they quickened their pace. These children's families naturally had to accompany them. Even if there were many people protecting them behind, they couldn't leave their children behind and follow them. As Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan chased forward, more and more adults stayed to accompany the children, but they were all overtaken. When it was 4:45, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan stopped again. They had overtaken many people. If they continued to walk, they would need to walk for 4 hours. According to this speed, they would arrive at their destination in about 4:45. But they still chose to stop. They cut a few small bundles of grass with a knife, tied them up, and propped them up. They took out 2 blankets from their backpacks, spread one under the grass, and put the other on the grass. The 2 of them got into the blankets, lay down, and closed their eyes to sleep. This was the hottest time of the day. If they continued to walk, the fatigue of the body would increase, and the salt would be lost too quickly. Lying down for an hour to rest, they could still avoid the hot sun. When the adults saw the 2 of them, no one said that the 2 of them would be left far behind. Everyone was now uncomfortably hot. If there was a place like this, it was really good to lie down and rest. They didn't know if the children who walked under the sun could make it to their destination. After 1/4 of an hour, Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao, who had slept, got up and tidied up. They rushed forward again. They were not worried that they couldn't catch up with the others. They didn't eat at noon, ran so fast in the morning, and walked under the sun in the afternoon. It was good enough that they didn't get heat stroke. How far did they expect to go? The children walking in front of them didn't get heat stroke. There were people watching them all the time. If any of them couldn't stand it, someone would pour some ice water into them. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were almost 2 hours away from their destination, they walked to the front of the group. Only a few healthy children could continue to lead a little. Looking at the posture of their walking, it was obvious that they didn't have any strength. In these few hours, 9 people had already left. Even if their family members were still looking at them with encouraging eyes, they no longer insisted on leaving. They even cried and made a scene. When they were at home, they had never suffered like this. The families of the 9 people couldn't force the children. They could only find food for the children under the contemptuous gazes of others. They also asked people to pull the children behind in a carriage. They wanted to see how the other children were like. They came here once and gained knowledge so that they could go back and teach their children. At this time, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan suddenly sped up. They went from walking quickly to jogging. One in front, 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 one in front. Their forearms swayed gently. Their expressions were relaxed, and their eyes were half open. They tried to reduce the consumption of energy as much as possible. It only took them a moment to become the leader of the children between the ages of 5 and 8. They even overtook more than 30 children between the ages of 8 and 12. The adults of the children between the ages of 5 and 8 could only look at the 2 distant figures and sigh. The families of the children of the other age group were surprised when they saw the 2 children overtaking them. They didn't expect that at this time there were still people who could run. Chapter 153. The sun was setting. When evening came, 2 small figures on the grassland attracted almost everyone's attention. From the beginning, they were at the back of the pack. Now, they were overtaking all the way. These 2 figures had reached the 13th and 14th positions among the 133 people. Especially in the later part of the race, they were overtaken one after another. Those children who were overtaken were not convinced at first and tried to compete with them. However, after running for a while, they no longer had the energy. Basically, all the adults were more shocked than these 2 figures. Once they started running, they did not stop. The other children were so tired that they wished they could just lie there and not move, but these 2 figures did not seem to know fatigue. They were really too tenacious. At this time, the adults were envious of Zhang Zhuangzi and Wang Zhuangzi. Having two sensible and persistent children like them was what any parent would hope for. Unfortunately, these were not their children. The faces of the parents of the 9 children who had already withdrawn from the competition did not look good. Although another 5 children had withdrawn from the competition, they would only compare their children with the 2 figures, especially when the 2 figures were adults who were 10 years old. Look at them. 2 children who were 5 years old could persist and overtake all the way. Why couldn't a 10-year-old? The food and drinks at home had never been bad. Could it be that they had fed them something else? When they blamed their children in their hearts, they naturally forgot who was the one who not only did not tell their children when they were running like crazy and wasting a lot of energy, but also praised them from behind. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan naturally did not know what others thought of them. They were still running. In front of them, they could already see the tents set up. They looked at each other and nodded. They slowed down slightly from running to walking. When they reached the tents, they could adjust their bodies. Now, they had already surpassed the 8th and 9th positions. Of the 7 people in front of them, 4 were 12 years old, 2 were 11 years old, and 1 was 10 years old. Li Sun was also among them. His Zhuangzi had taken 5 of the top 7 places this time. The children of the villagers could endure hardship and were fed well for a few days. Naturally, they were better than the other children. Young master, you're really amazing. You're actually the first to arrive. Sure enough, no one can compare to you. Young master, I've prepared something for you to eat. Li Sun was also exhausted. As for why he was the first to arrive, it was naturally because someone had let him go first. Originally, there were 2 children in his manor who were faster than him, but at the last moment, they slowed down and let him enter first. The 7 of them had just arrived and were all panting heavily. They didn't even have the strength to speak. They were obviously hungry, but when they saw the food on the table, they were indeed retching. They didn't even want to raise their arms. Hearing the servant's courteous words, Li Sun grinned and waved his hand. He grabbed the bowl of water beside him and poured it into his mouth. He lay on the carpet and gasped for breath. The other 6 people were not much better. After drinking the water, they lay down. As for the food, they couldn't eat it now. Wow, Xiaobao, look, there's so much delicious food. After we're done, we can eat. I see some rotten tendons and beef marrow. The chef between the clouds and the water is so good. He knows what we like to eat. The 7 of them were lying there gasping for breath when Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao walked in. Their eyes were fixed on the food on the table. Wang Wan took off her backpack and said happily, there was beef to eat. It wasn't that easy to eat. Not only did it cost money to buy the beef, it also had to pay a fine. As they spoke, the 2 of them began to stretch their legs to relax their muscles and tendons. From time to time, they would look at the food on the table with an expectant expression. Who's here now? Are you tired? Li Sun, who was lying there, heard someone speak. He wanted to show off. After all, he was the first to arrive. Even if he was the emperor's nephew, he still wanted to compete. After asking, he turned his head and suddenly sat up from the ground. You guys, how can it be you guys? That's not right. Why are you guys the first to come? Li Sun pointed at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who were stretching their legs and didn't look tired at all, and asked with wide eyes, why can't it be us? Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao replied almost at the same time. They put down their legs, which were almost done, and went to wash their hands in the basin next to them. They sat down at the table and began to eat. They specifically picked good food to eat, such as the beef bone marrow and the beef tendons that were a bit chewy. As for whether they could still eat good food later, it was none of their business. After eating a few mouthfuls of meat, they didn't eat anything else, especially the soybeans that were fried with meat. The chef knew that the 2 children couldn't eat too hard, so he specially cooked them. This time, not only did the taste become better, but the soybeans were also soft. After the 2 finished the soybeans, they began to eat the vegetables. The nutrition had to be balanced. Today's consumption of their bodies wasn't small, so they needed to replenish it. Xiao Bao, look at that roasted chicken. How good is that roasted chicken? It's golden brown. One look, and you can tell that it tastes good, Wang Wan said to Zhang Xiaobao, with half a piece of braised meat in her mouth, pointing at the roasted chicken that was cooked the most. And good, it's really good. Then let's leave it for those who need it more. Come, let's eat something bad. This meat is fat, so let's eat this. Zhang Xiaobao swallowed a piece of fish egg in his mouth, then took a small knife and cut some meat from the back of the roasted whole lamb's neck. The fat and lean meat were evenly distributed, and he gave one to Wang Wan. The two of them didn't touch the chicken. As they ate other things, they kept praising how good the chicken was. Hearing this, the other 6 people lying there felt hungry and prepared to eat the chicken. Only Li Sun didn't move. He was still staring blankly at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who were eating and drinking. He kept muttering, "How could it be them? How could it be them? No, it shouldn't be them." When the 6 people got up to wash their hands, Li Sun was still muttering. The servant next to him had to come over and remind him, "Young master, shouldn't you eat something? This time we only killed 1 cow, and it was eaten by the 2 of them in a while. There's only 1 fried cow brain left, young master." When the servant spoke, his eyes never left Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He found that the 2 children were really good at eating. They ate everything that was good. Half of the fried cow brain had already been eaten by them. You tell me what's going on. Why is it them? Go get Li Cheng, I want to ask. Li Sun was finally called back from some kind of profound state. He muttered again, got up to wash his hands, and prepared to eat. The 6 people each held a roasted chicken and gnawed there. He wasn't that stupid. He directly sat next to Zhang Xiaobao and pushed the rest of the cow brain in front of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, hinting them to eat it. He picked up a piece of cow bone marrow and slowly ate there. After eating a piece of cow bone marrow, Li Sun put down his chopsticks and looked at the 2 people who were still eating and asked, "Zhang Xiaobao, can you tell me how you 2 came here?" "Of course we ran here. We are tired." "Young Master Li, eat that chicken. I tell you, the best part is the chicken skin. If you don't believe me, you can try it." Zhang Xiaobao was really not polite. He really divided the cow brain and gave one to Wang Wan. The cow brain, which was not too small, shrank a lot after being fried with oil. While talking to Li Sun, he didn't forget to introduce the chicken. Li Sun curled his lips. He felt that asking this question was the same as not asking. He didn't get any information. As for the chicken, he didn't want to eat it. He picked up the knife and cut a piece of meat from the roasted whole lamb's chin. He dipped it in the salt and pepper on the side and put it in his mouth, chewing carefully. Seeing that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang were almost done eating and started to drink soup, he asked again, "Then why did you 2 run so fast? When you 2 came in, you didn't seem to be tired." "I was so tired that I couldn't even stand." Zhang Xiaobao finished a small bowl of soup, put down his chopsticks, and said to Li Sun, "Who knows why they ran so slowly? We were also puzzled. Of course, you were tired. You came in first, so you ran fast. We came later." Zhang Xiaobao finished a small bowl of soup, put down his chopsticks, and said to Li Sun, and then pointed to the roasted chicken. "Young Master Li, you must not know that the most delicious part of the chicken is the chicken butt. If you remove the thing inside, it will be delicious. Think about it, the butt is full of oil, and then roasted again, the taste don't mention it." When he said this, 2 of the 6 people really went to bite the chicken, but Li Sun stopped his chopsticks. Originally, he wanted to pick up some sauce beef. When he heard that the chicken butt was so oily, he felt a little disgusted. He was not a child of a poor family. He didn't like to eat fatty meat. He opened his mouth and wanted to continue to ask, but didn't know what to ask. What he asked just now was useless, so he had to spoon some soup and slowly drink it, waiting for Li Cheng to come. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan naturally didn't wait for him to continue to ask. The 2 people finished eating and went out to eat. They digested, took a bath, and went to sleep. Li Cheng hurried in from outside. At the same time, other people came in one after another. After a few people entered this tent, The people who came had to go to other tents. Naturally, they couldn't eat the cow brain, only one portion. Young master, are you looking for this little one? Li Cheng came to Li Sun and helped Li Sun to remove some meat from around the eyes of the sheep and put it on the plate in front of Li Sun and asked respectfully, Did Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan walk here by themselves? Didn't someone take them with a carriage or something? Li Sun picked up a bit of meat, stopped in front of his mouth, and asked before putting it in his mouth. In reply to young master, they came here by themselves. At the beginning, they were the last. Later, when others were tired, they rushed all the way to catch up. In the last part of the road, they ran. Many people didn't want to be overtaken by them, so they also ran. In the end, they were still overtaken by them. Oh, young master, there is one more thing. The two of them slept for a while in the afternoon. At noon, when others were hungry, they made themselves a meal. Maybe it was because they ate something? Otherwise, they would have been so tired at such a young age. Li Cheng replied and told what happened at noon. Looking at young master's expression, he knew that this was really too shocking. Chapter 154. What? Have you eaten? Tell me the details. Just as Li Cheng thought, Li Sun was really frightened when he heard this. The chopsticks in his hand trembled, and then he returned to his previous state. Li Cheng immediately began to tell him from the beginning how the two children came to the end. He even told him some of the comments of others, including the part where Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan dug while walking. Then they talked about how the others were hungry at noon, what kind of tools they took out, how they cooked the things they dug up, how they built the shelter after eating, and finally, how they ran all the way here. You asked someone to cook those things? After hearing the details, Li Sun felt even more incredible. How could the two of them know these things? Who taught them? This person was the most important person. If he could ask this person, he could gain more in the future survival training. Although carrying things was a little heavy, it was very important for a person to eat a hot meal, not to mention that they could put blankets to sleep and shelter from the sun. He knew how hot it was in the afternoon, but he didn't expect that the two of them actually slept and rushed here without any delay. Now there was a tent for everyone to rest, but what if there was no tent? Then the two of them could sleep wrapped in blankets, and others could only lie on the grass. Mosquitoes would bite them, and it was easy to get sick from a cold. Replying to young master, I have arranged someone to do it. It will be delivered to you later. If you want to use it tomorrow, you must ask someone to tell you what you can eat and what you can't eat. If you eat something wrong, you will be poisoned. Li Cheng reminded at the side. Yes, they know these things. Remember to contact Zhang Zhuangzi and Wang Zhuangzi more in the future. Find a way to ask the person behind them. I have great use for them. After hearing Li Cheng's words, Li Sun also thought of this aspect and paid more attention to the person behind the two children. Li Cheng nodded and remembered and then asked, Young master, do you still want to buy their restaurant and land? These days, I see that they deliberately found an excuse. If they want to buy it, I will go to the government to suppress them. I'm not going to buy it. Since I can't buy it, why waste the effort? There's no need to look for the local authorities. The local authorities here are on good terms with them. If we look for people from the state, I'm afraid that my father will be angry. What's more, once they leave after buying the land, where are we going to find them? You should meet them more often and learn how to manage Zhuangzi. Li Sun could see that the Zhuangzi of the Zhang family and Wang family were not as simple as other small Zhuangzi. If one wanted to touch them, one had to look for their father. Otherwise, it would be difficult. There was no good excuse to look for their father. The two auspicious signs were there. Who would dare to touch them easily? After Li Cheng left, Li Sun picked up something to eat. While eating, he muttered to himself, How can a 2-year-old child grow so big? What do you usually eat? Well, I have to ask this question. Could it be that the auspicious signs are really different from other places? After making up his mind, Li Sun ate faster. As he ate, he looked up and saw a scene that made him not know whether to laugh or cry. He saw that the people who came in were all holding a chicken and gnawing on it. A few of them even bit the chicken buttocks. After discussing with the others, they gave them the chicken buttocks. Sigh. Liars, two little liars. Li Sun sighed helplessly. Naturally, he knew what was going on. Just now, the two little guys kept praising how delicious the roast chicken was. Others believed it. If it was delicious, why didn't they eat it? They specifically picked good food and stuffed it into their mouths. Early the next morning, after Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had a good sleep, they set foot on the road again. One thing that made the two of them feel interesting was that the remaining 119 people were all like the two of them. They were carrying a bag and holding a small shovel in their hand. Needless to say, the two of them knew that they were learning from the two of them yesterday. They just don't know if they can eat those things. Vomiting is not good for the stomach and intestines, and it will affect their physical strength. There are competitors. Well, let's go. Let's run to the front and let them dig behind. Zhang Xiaobao adjusted the strap of the bag, called Wang Wan, and ran to the front. Wang Wan was not willing to compete with so many people here. Following Zhang Xiaobao, the two of them sped up one after the other, leaving those who continued to dig far behind. When the adults saw that the two of them were different from yesterday, they were confused again, but they couldn't leave their children behind and follow them. They could only wait to see what was going on when they saw the place. Li Cheng immediately followed him. He had to record down what happened between the two of them and tell the young master about it later. After running for a distance, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan slowed down and started to dig here. When Li Cheng saw this scene, he realized that there were too many people over there, and it was a delay. Xiaobao, do you think we can be the first to arrive today? We can eat the good food first. Wang Wan dug and asked Zhang Xiaobao. When she thought of Pomegranate's words yesterday that many people in the tent ate chicken, she felt funny. They can definitely do it. They were tired yesterday, and they are tired today. Even if children recover quickly, they can't do it. They are not used to this kind of thing. Besides, they were tired yesterday, and there was no one to massage them. Don't move. Be gentle. Take out the slingshot. I found a big rat. We will have meat at noon. When Zhang Xiaobao was analyzing, he suddenly signaled Wang Wan to point to the front with his hand. He gently opened his backpack and took out the slingshot. Wang Wan looked carefully and nodded. She also took out the slingshot and loaded a small iron ball. She looked at Zhang Xiaobao and aimed the slingshot at the rat that weighed more than 1 jin. When Zhang Xiaobao nodded again and again, the two of them shot the iron balls in their hands at the same time. They hit the rat almost at the same time. One iron ball hit the rat's stomach, and the other hit the rat's head. The rat didn't die immediately. The strength of the two people was still too small, and the power of the slingshot was also small. After being hit, the rat twitched there. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan ran forward and quickly stabbed the rat again. They were afraid that the rat would run away after a while. Since there was a rat, the two of them didn't dig for other worms. They ran directly to the place where water was provided in front of them. They cleaned up the rat first and left it to eat. Li Cheng followed behind them. Suddenly, he saw the two little guys stop moving. He was ready to take a closer look. Who knew that the two little guys took out a slingshot? When he was puzzled, he saw a rat being carried forward by Zhang Xiaobao. The rat looked like it weighed more than 1 jin. Li Cheng was surprised and followed behind them. He wanted to see what the two little guys were doing. When they came to the place where water was provided, he saw Zhang Xiaobao peel off the rat's skin with a knife. He also took out the rat's meat and cut it into small pieces. Seeing this, Li Cheng couldn't help but tremble. He understood what the two little guys were going to do. They wanted to eat rats. Eating rats was nothing. He had eaten them before. Before he entered the prince's mansion, he lived outside and squeezed with other children in the shabby temple. He ate rats when he caught them. They were good things. But the two guys didn't seem to lack that kind of thing, right? Why did they dare to eat rats? It seemed that the two of them would have a good meal today. Well, let's pick the wild vegetables. Don't dig things. Just stew them at noon. The lime we brought should be enough. We'll see. If it doesn't work, we'll put some hay on it. Pay attention to the fire. Xiaobao salted the processed rats and put them in his bag. He called Wang Wan, and the two of them began to dig up the wild vegetables. It didn't take long before they finished digging up all the wild vegetables for lunch. This time, the two of them could relax. They didn't have to waste time looking for insects, which saved them a lot of time. They sped up and rushed towards their goal today. Li Cheng hesitated and waved to a guard not far from here. When the guard came, he gave a few orders. The guard went to meet Li Sun. Li Cheng continued to follow Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He wanted to know what the two of them would do today. Let's adjust the pace today. We'll run first. After lunch, we'll rest directly. Sleep for 2 hours and then get up. Wang Wan had lunch, so she was thinking about how to create a psychological pressure on others. Zhang Xiaobao also agreed. The two of them ran one after the other. Li Cheng saw this and said secretly, "It's over. Young master won't be able to get the first one today." As Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan expected, the children behind them were all scrambling to dig holes. They all frowned. They felt disgusted at the sight of these things and didn't want to eat them at all. It was their parents who persuaded them to dig. If there was something they didn't want to eat, they would dig some wild vegetables. Li Sun was not as disgusted as the others. He usually ate silkworm pupae, but the ones in the field were smaller. What's more, the two little kids could eat them. Why didn't he eat them? How could he survive in the wild without eating? The parents watched the children while they were digging. When they dug out something, they would ask the guards if it was poisonous. If it was poisonous, they would throw it away. If it wasn't, they would keep it. When Li Sun was digging, the guard arranged by Li Cheng ran to him. "Young master," Li Cheng said that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan killed a mouse with a slingshot. "You should eat that thing at noon today. It will save a lot of time." Slingshot a mouse? They actually brought a slingshot? Didn't they clean up here? Then there are also snakes? When Li Sun heard this news, he understood. They were faster, but he felt a little unsure. What if someone was bitten by a snake? "Young master, don't worry. There are no snakes. We scattered realgar. Do you want me to catch a mouse for you?" The guard whispered. Chapter 155. Rolling smoke, bursts of kicking sounds. Dogs barking, roosters crowing, the morning bell ringing. The sky was just beginning to turn red. The grass was growing. Who was in a hurry? Flying like a rainbow. Jia, jia. 5 horses, 5 people. The horses galloped like meteors. The people bent their bows, leaving a trail of dust on the road. The person in front urged the horse from time to time and shouted to open the road. "Urgent report, 800 li, get out of the way." The people in Sanshui County, who had just come out to set up a stall, heard this voice and dodged to the sides of the road. Many people had a frightened expression. How many years had it been since they heard an urgent report from 800 li? What happened? Was there going to be a big war? "Quick, go back and call my second son. Take out the leather armor at home." An old man who thought there was going to be a war stopped looking at his stall and called the old woman next to him. He was going to go back home to prepare things for his second son to serve the country. The person on the horse may have noticed that the people's expressions were not right, so he had to change his words. "Good news, 800 li, get out of the way." The people who were about to go home stopped and became more confused. How could an urgent report be used to report good news? The person on the horse didn't care what others thought, as long as they didn't think there was going to be a war. He urged the horse to run as fast as he could. After an hour, they arrived at a post house. There were already horses waiting for them to change. The 5 people jumped off the horse, held a token in their hand, and changed horses. In 75 minutes, it took the 5 people only 75 minutes to get from Sanshui County Yamen to Zhangjie Zhuangzi. There was still a quarter of an hour left. Sanshui County Yamen runner Qindong wants to see Cavalry Officer Yun. The person in the lead jumped off his horse and came to the outside of the Zhang family's courtyard. He knocked on the door twice, and before the gatekeeper could ask him anything, he shouted loudly. After shouting this sentence, he stood there with a happy and excited expression on his face, and then stood there and waited. The 4 people behind him were also happy. They tidied up their clothes and stood as still as possible, waiting for the person inside to come out and congratulate them again. The gatekeeper was confused. Hearing the voice outside, it was familiar. It was the Yamen runner, but who was Cavalry Officer Yun? Why are you shouting at Zhang Zhuangzi? It was good to know that they were acquaintances. The gatekeeper opened the door first and let the 5 Yamen runners in. He then turned around and ran to the housekeeper's courtyard. Fortunately, when he had not run too far away, that Chun Dong added, "Accept the imperial edict," so he knew what to say. After a while, Zhang Zhuangzi, old and young, all came out of the house and changed into new clothes. Old Master Zhangjia walked over. Before he could say anything, Chun Dong spoke first. "Old Master, congratulations, congratulations." The imperial edict from the imperial court was supposed to arrive in the prefecture, but Lord Zhou had someone send it to the Yamen in the middle of the night. We didn't stop at all and sent it here. Commandant of the Cloud Cavalry. The emperor conferred the title of Commandant of the Cloud Cavalry to Brother Yongcheng, rank 7. Also, Brother Wang Gong and Brother Wang Gutu of the Wang family are conferred the title of Commandant of the Cloud Cavalry, rank 7. As he spoke, Chun Dong was about to give the imperial edict to old Master Zhang. Zhang Xiaobao's father, Zhang Yongcheng, could only wait aside. Although the title was conferred on him, he was the head of the family. At critical moments in the family, he didn't have the final say. But old Master Zhang didn't accept it. He first arranged for the 5 of them to rest in the living room, while he ordered the servants to bathe and change clothes. Then he took the imperial edict and called his son to the side. He asked Qinian to kneel down and accept the edict. After that, he went to the ancestral hall at home to burn incense for the ancestors. The old master was very excited. He burned incense and cried at the same time. Sometimes he said that he was relieved to see his ancestors, and sometimes he said that the Zhang family had a descendant. He rambled incoherently for an hour before he came out with red eyes. When he remembered that the Wang family was also waiting for him, he hurried over with 5 Yamen runners. The Wang family also went through a lot of trouble. They took out a lot of money and gave it to the 5 Yamen runners. They also took out 30 caddies of dried wood ears from Zhang Xiaobao's storeroom and asked the Yamen runners to take them back and share them. This time, the 2 Zhuangzi villages gained a lot. Not only did they get official positions, but they also took back 100 households in Zhang Zhuangzi's village and gave 300 households 2,400 mu of land. The Wang family directly gave 200 households 1,600 mu of land to Zhuangzi. They were considered small officials, but they were given a large amount of land. At this time, the 2 Zhuangzi villagers also received the news that their master's family had been conferred an official position by the imperial court and had a lot of land. They ran to the grocery store and bought a lot of firecrackers. With a crackling sound, they set off the firecrackers. The restaurant between the clouds and the water announced on the spot that the drinks would be free for the next 3 days. The people who came to watch the scholars solve the questions were very happy. When the people from the Gu family in Zhuangzi heard the commotion, they all came out to take a look. Some of the people who worked in the restaurant told the Gu family's villagers. They were happy, but also a little disappointed. Why didn't their master's family get conferred an official position? The 2 Zhuangzi families suddenly had 400 more households than before. They only had 200 households in total. Now that they had 500 households, they would naturally let the current villagers move to one of them. Based on how the 2 masters' families treated the villagers, the autumn rent would be reduced by a lot. The first thing that came to mind was whether their family could enter the Zhang family or the Wang family. Even if the master's family didn't give them a reduction in rent, it was fine even if it was a little less. Their children could eat the food prepared by the master's family when they went to school. They didn't need to bring food from their own family. The food that their own family brought couldn't compare to the food that the master's family gave them. A few days ago, when their children came home, they said that they saw the master's food and felt embarrassed to take out their own food. Luochuan County, the ranch. From time to time, the sound of snoring could be heard from the various tents. The children didn't usually snore, but this time, it was more frequent. Everyone was exhausted. After 2 days of continuous travel, they finally knew what it meant to be unwell. Of the 135 people who came, only 100 were left. 32 people left. On the first day, 14 people left. On the second day, 18 people left. There were people of both ages who left. Pomegranate and another servant girl took turns to guard Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. An oil lamp swayed gently. Pomegranate held a fan in her hand and gently fanned the 2 young masters. Looking at the 2 people's cute appearance when they were sleeping, Pomegranate couldn't wait to kiss each of them. Last night, the young master and the young lady actually came back more than half an hour earlier than the third person. Later on, even Li Qingdu of the Li family couldn't keep up with them. At that time, she was accompanied by the other 3 people. Thinking of the envious eyes around her, she couldn't help but feel happy. Wasn't the survival training in the wild a competition between these children? A 12-year-old child couldn't even compare with the young master and young lady who were less than 3 years old. Comparisons were odious. Sister Pomegranate, it's going to be dawn soon. Is it my turn? Just when Pomegranate was thinking about something, the servant girl who was sleeping next to her opened her eyes and looked at the light coming in through the gap of the tent. She asked Pomegranate, "No, I'm not sleepy. I'm happy. No one can compare with our young master and young lady. If we win one more time this year, we can rest. The older ones still have to run for a few days. They may not be able to finish it. Yesterday, I saw several children cry because of tiredness." Pomegranate refused the suggestion of changing people. She gently waved the fan with the other hand with a proud look on her face. The servant girl thought for a while and didn't continue to sleep. She got up and prepared to serve the young master and young lady for a while. At this time, there was a sound of shouting, hooves, and neighing outside the camp. This time, there was no need to wake up the children. The children in the tent didn't have a good rest. They felt uncomfortable sleeping in a different environment. At home, they slept on the couch, but here they could only sleep on the carpet. They would be awakened by the slightest noise. One by one, they got out of the tent with sleepy eyes. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also heard the noise. They didn't know what happened, so they got up and looked out through the gap of the tent door. After a short while, the commotion stopped. A person came out from there, followed by 2 horses and 2 people leading the horses. "Congratulations, young Master Zhang. The people from the Sanshui County Yamen said they want to see you." Young Master's father was made a Cloud Cavalry officer, and the Wang family also got a Wu Cavalry officer. These 2 Yamen runners are here to report. "Oh, thank you, young Master Li. Please bring them here." Zhang Xiaobao looked at Li Cheng and listened to his words. His calm mind finally fluctuated. He didn't care about these things. He only cared about his family, but his family cared about these things. "Young Master, you are Songyang Yamen Runner Song. You came so far to report. You must be tired. How is Auntie? I don't know if that thing is true, or..." Zhang Xiaobao had a good memory. Usually, as long as he met someone, he could remember it. He asked but didn't say the rest. "It's true. Young Master, it's true. Are you going back soon?" "Good, good, everything is good. My family is not bad. Thank you, Zhang family. They eat good food, wear good clothes, and the child is strong." Song Yang suddenly felt that the tiredness of riding a fast horse was gone in the blink of an eye. The young master was so young, so he knew about his family's affairs. His family must have told him. He also had a wife who had just given birth to a child at home. The Zhang family's farmstead had also sent a lot of things. Just that big bag of apricot plums alone was worth at least 500 copper coins. Adding everything else together, 7 or 8 taels of silver might not even be enough. The child was also taken care of by the doctor invited by the family. How could he repay this kindness? He could only help Zhangjia Zhuangzi. That was why he rushed over to report. Really? Young master, let's go back. This is good. We don't have to worry about the 100 coins being taken back. Master is an official. I will be the official's maid in the future. Pomegranate was also listening. Hearing that her master was an official, even if she didn't know how high the position was, she still cheered and couldn't help but say what was in her heart. Okay, let's go back. Wang Wan, get on the horse. Zhang Xiaobao got a positive answer. He didn't care about the survival in the wild anymore. He called Wang Wan and stood beside the horse. Chapter 156. Wang Wan was also happy. This time, her father also had an official, Wu Qiwei, secondary rank 7, which was a bit lower than Zhang Xiaobao's father. He was rank 7, which was not bad. After all, most of the things were provided by the Zhang family. It was already not easy for the Wang family to get some benefits. Hearing Zhang Xiaobao's call, she immediately ran towards Zhang Xiaobao. When she was still one step away from Zhang Xiaobao, she jumped up and stepped on Zhang Xiaobao. The surrounding children thought that the two children were going to fight, so one jumped up and kicked the other for some reason. Just as they were watching with all kinds of thoughts, Zhang Xiaobao and Wei Wei squatted, crossed their fingers, and went towards Wang Wan's feet. When the people around couldn't help but cry out in surprise, Wang Wan stepped on Zhang Xiaobao's hands and used her strength to jump up. Zhang Xiaobao cooperated by leaning back and raising his arms. Wang Wan directly flew onto the horse. Before she could sit down, Wang Wan grabbed the reins with one hand and put the other hand down. After Zhang Xiaobao did those two actions, he jumped up at the same time. He stretched out his arms and just happened to grab Wang Wan's hands. With a little strength, his waist moved, and his legs moved up first, landing right behind Wang Wan. Wang Wan also adjusted her position. Her legs squeezed the horse's body, and she shouted, "Go!" Wei Wei held the reins in her hands, and the horse immediately ran in the direction that Wang Wan commanded. Pomegranate, don't worry about us. You guys go back slowly. We'll go home first. Immediately, Zhang Xiaobao's crisp childish voice sounded. The two of them rode for dozens of feet. When the children who came out of the tent saw this scene, they were all stunned. None of them dared to believe that what they just saw was real. The two children flew up. Not only were the children dumbfounded, but the guards, the Yamen runner, and Li Cheng were also stunned. They were still thinking about what happened just now. It was too fast. They didn't have any time to react before the two children rode away on their horses. How did they move? It was as if one person stepped on the other to get up, then turned around and pulled the person below. As a result, the two of them both got up. Even a person with superb horsemanship could only get on the horse a little faster than the two children. Holding the horse by the neck and jumping up and down, it seemed no different from the two children. When one was on the horse, the other would also jump up and sit down. Almost at the same time, the horse would gallop. After a while, when a child shouted, everyone recovered. Song Yang quickly pulled another horse and jumped on it. He said to the Yamen runner who came with him, "You go back first. I'll follow behind and protect them." After saying this, Song Yang followed the small black that was about to disappear. He rode away, leaving a group of people who were still shocked and staring at each other. Little young master and little miss are gone. Quick, let's follow them. Where's the car? Pomegranate might have seen too many magical things, so she reacted the fastest. She went into the tent and took out the bags carried by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. She called the other three people and ran to the parking place. The other three people didn't dare to waste time and followed behind. As for whether little young master and little miss were eliminated in this training, they didn't care at all. Just based on the action of getting on the horse just now, who dared to say that little young master and little miss were not first? The rest of them were lucky. Today, no one would compete with them for the first place. When these people left, Li Cheng looked at the direction where the horse disappeared and sighed. He hurriedly reported to the young master. As he ran, he thought in his heart, "This is really too scary. Maybe those children living in the grassland can do it, right?" Not necessarily. Others didn't know how old those two children were, but he was very clear. They were less than 3 years old. How could 3-year-old grassland children get on the horse like this? He didn't know who taught them this skill. It must be the person who taught them how to find food. Was it hidden in the Wang family or the Zhang family? It seemed that he had to find a way to find it. After the yamen runners and guards left, the children standing at the entrance of the tent began to talk to the people next to them about what they had just seen. They had seen the strength of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang won the night before and last night. This morning, they had a higher evaluation of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. While they were envious, they also secretly encouraged themselves. In the future, they must exercise their bodies every day and learn this method of mounting a horse. It was really too beautiful. The two people flew onto the horses back one after the other. The girl jumped high, but the boy's legs and feet were so beautiful. They thought that he would fall head first. Unexpectedly, when his feet were on the horse's back, his body also followed suit. Learn, I must learn. When the time comes, I will show others that I can get on the horse like this. I will find those who didn't join this survival in the wild and compete with them. I will scare them to death. What? The imperial uncle had given to officials to the two families 500 households worth of food and 4,000 mu of land? Why? When Li Cheng told this to the young Marquis, Li Sun was no longer as calm as before. He asked in surprise, "Young Marquis, didn't I say last time that Zhang Xiaobao and Zhuangzi sent a lot of food to the other side this time? In addition to food, there were also chickens, ducks, and geese. They helped Prime Minister Yao a lot. The imperial court has to reward them. Originally, the Zhang family had 100 households of food. This time, they can only give more, not less." Li Cheng remembered a lot of things, so he quickly put the two things together and explained to Li Sun. Li Sun thought for a while and nodded. "Well, now they won't go to other places. Do you know where the land is?" "I know. It should be close to their farmstead. We bought a portion of the farmstead, and there is still a lot of undeveloped land. That area is full of forests, so it should be that area. Altogether, it's about 5,000 mu. The two families will probably put all 5,000 mu into the farmstead. Do we need to scare them with this when the time comes?" Li Cheng had asked the yamen runner. If there was no Zhuangzi of the Li family, it was very likely that the emperor would give the land of the Li family to them. Now, they could only give the other side of the Zhuangzi. Some hills were not high, but they were not suitable for farming. Even if they gave the land to them, they could not use it to grow food. Those mountains added up to a total of 5,000 mu of land. Anyone would want to occupy that land. When the time came to measure the land, the county would send someone. Using the relationship between the two villages and the yamen, they would each occupy 1,000 mu of land. There would be no problem at all. Li Cheng planned to wait for the Zhang family and Wang family to occupy the land. He would use this to threaten them and make them pay a bigger price. Li Sun heard this idea and thought it was feasible. But he frowned and said, "If we really do this, what if we offend the person behind the two children? You also saw that the two of them were the first to arrive there yesterday. Others were tired to death, but they were still so relaxed. This is the real survival in the wild." "Ah, yes, what you said is true. Not only yesterday, but also just now when they left, the action of getting on the horse also scared many people. Young master, you must not be able to guess how they got on the horse. Without the help of adults, the two of them cooperated and got on the horse in the blink of an eye." At this time, Li Cheng suddenly thought of the person behind Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He described the action of the two of them getting on the horse to Li Sun. "They can actually get on the horse like this? Good ability. If they can get on the horse, then they can climb the wall. Such a small child can jump on such a high horse. Won't the adults be even higher? No, you should immediately follow them and find a way to find the master while the two of them are happy in Zhuangzi." Li Sun was also excited when he heard what happened at that time. He imagined the scene in his mind. One of the children jumped up first, and as soon as he touched the back of the horse, he stretched out his hand to pull the other one. At the same time, the other one jumped up and changed his posture in the air. As a result, both of them sat firmly at the same time, grabbed the reins, and kicked the horse. Beautiful, it was really beautiful. Li Sun thought of this, and wished that he could be one of the children. If he could do such a thing in the palace, he would definitely win the favor of his father and uncle. Li Cheng, since you saw their action, immediately find me a person like this. When the time comes, I will step on him. If they can do it, why can't I? Yes, yes, young master. This little one will definitely find one. This little one will follow them and inquire about the master's whereabouts. Li Cheng regretted what he said just now. If the person who cooperated with the young master was a little bit worse, and the young master fell down, what should he do? It was said that the two children have been together since they opened their eyes. They usually eat together, sleep together, and play together. When they want to do something, they can understand each other with just a look. Where can you find a 10-year-old person who can cooperate with a young master like this? Li Sun didn't know what Li Cheng was thinking. When he heard that he could find a person, he smiled with satisfaction. Then go. Remember, be careful. If you can't do it, send a gift. Don't provoke them. As for the occupation of the land, we will talk about it later. Li Cheng responded and went outside. He quickly found two people to follow him to call the carriage. He didn't know how to ride a horse, so he could only use the carriage to chase. His thinking was simple. The two children jumped high, but they were good at riding. After riding for a while, they would be tired. Naturally, he could catch up with them. It usually took more than a day to get there from here. A carriage with 4 horses went to Tuqiao village. The rest of the children had to continue to participate in the survival in the wild. One by one, they had lost their initial enthusiasm, especially when they saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan jump on the horse. Their confidence was hit by that moment of action. Chapter 157. Giddy up. Cuckoo, your horsemanship is too bad. You come to the back, I'll be in front, you carry me. Zhang Xiaobao, who was rushing on the road, found that Wang Wan's riding movements were a bit too standard. She was not a female police officer on the road. She had to run back quickly. If she rode like this, the horse could dance. He could only pat the horse's butt and shout. Then, he asked Wang Wan to change positions. He had specially learned how to ride a horse. The only thing missing was a pair of stirrups. I learned this before. You're the only one who can do it. You do it. Wang Wan let go of the reins, stretched out her hands, and held Zhang Xiaobao's shoulders. She put strength in her waist and turned her body backward. She deliberately touched Zhang Xiaobao's nose with her forehead. When Wang Wan was behind him, Zhang Xiaobao moved forward a bit. He reached out to hold the reins, bent his body slightly, and used his legs to adapt. There was no need to shout any slogan. He naturally jumped out, and his speed was more than twice as fast as before. Xiaobao, I didn't expect you to know how to ride a horse. Tell me, who did you learn this from? Wang Wan hugged Zhang Xiaobao's waist from behind and followed his up and down to maintain the same frequency. This could reduce the horse's burden. She believed that Zhang Xiaobao's body movements were the most suitable for a horse to run. At the same time, she asked curiously, Inner Mongolia. I learned it from an old soldier. He didn't know my identity. He only thought that I was a tourist, a rich tourist. After I invested some money in them, I wanted to learn how to ride a horse. He taught me. Zhang Xiaobao used the fastest speed to adapt to the horse's movement pattern. He had been letting the horse run in the most energy-efficient way. At the same time, he responded to Wang Wan. Wang Wan was stunned for a moment and said, I didn't expect Xiaobao to be a guy who knows how to bribe people. What bribe? I did want to give them a better place, including horses. In that place, you can't use tanks and machine guns at all. In terms of mobility, you can't compare to cavalry. Cavalry doesn't only have sabers, they also have rocket launchers. When the wind isn't strong, They can use rocket launchers. Usually, 2 to 3 people were needed to form an anti-tank team. When it came to cavalry, 1 man and 1 horse was enough. They could run faster than a man. Horses could not only run in a straight line, they could also run in a zigzag pattern. When there was a sandstorm, other than missiles, all kinds of cannons and guns were not useful. Think about it. When sand is blown into the barrel of the gun, what will happen if you shoot? At that time, the saber was the most powerful. When the cavalry charged, 1 man, 1 saber, and 1 horse. With the force of the wind blowing from behind, all the infantrymen were just decorations. Throwing 2 grenades, they came and went like the wind. Zhang Xiaobao recalled the situation when he was almost buried by the sandstorm and explained to Wang Wan. Wang Wan was stunned. She thought that keeping the cavalry team was just a symbol. She didn't expect that in such a sandstorm, this cavalry team could be used as a suicide squad. A pile of grenades could be thrown out and the tank could be destroyed. After the outer layer of anti-explosive armor plate was blown away, the people inside would be shocked to death with the special grenades. There was also a special type of incendiary grenade that could create flames like an incendiary bomb. The people inside the tank were already hot, and with the addition of the heat outside, they would faint. How fast was the shooting speed of the gun, and how fast was the galloping speed of the horse? In the sandstorm, how many sharpshooters dared to say that they could hit the target 200 to 300 meters away? You had to protect the barrel of the gun first. Not to mention the specially trained horses. Even the one they were riding now could cross 200 to 300 meters in the blink of an eye. It wasn't easy to rely on cavalry to defeat a team, but it was relatively easy to interfere with a team to achieve a tactical goal. Especially those infantry fighting vehicles. They couldn't withstand more than a few attacks. After thinking about this, Wang Wan suddenly felt that she had too little experience. She couldn't compare to Zhang Xiaobao. She was training scientifically, but Zhang Xiaobao was learning desperately with radical ideas. No wonder he was so seriously ill. He was overdrawing his own life potential. Xiaobao, what happened after that? Wang Wan felt that there must be a lot of stories behind this, and it wasn't so simple. Later, they saved me. At that time, I thought I was going to die. They came over in the sandstorm and put me on the back of a horse. Then they ran back to the camp, fed me food, bathed me, and I lived. I invested a lot of money to build a base for them and cultivate good horse breeds for them. Unfortunately, at that time, I only wanted to learn how to ride a horse and didn't learn how to breed horses. The only thing I knew was that their horses had to eat eggs every day, and their hooves were as big as plates. They were much taller than the current horses. At that time, when the old soldier said that they didn't have enough eggs, I specially built a chicken farm for them. I found someone to be in charge of it. Now that I think about it, the scale should be bigger. Those chickens are free-range. If the horses and people can't eat the eggs, they will sell them. It's worth £1. When Zhang Xiaobao thought about what happened at that time, he felt that he had done a good thing. The chicken farm occupied the land of other people, and it was half military and half civilian. The military occupied 40% of the land, and the civilian occupied 60%. After the chicken farm made money, they had to take out half of the profits to build the military camp. In other words, you gave them a chicken farm for free, and all the money earned was invested into the military camp? Xiaobao, you are a good person. Wang Wan worshipped heroes like Zhang Xiaobao since she was young. Of course, she still liked this kind of Zhang Xiaobao. Who knew that Zhang Xiaobao shook his head? Who said that I didn't make money? I squeezed the other egg merchants out of the export market. There is only one place, and that is the grassland outside. I monopolized their egg imports. Before coming here, I gave an order that if they dare to provoke me, I will stop the supply of eggs. The country also monopolized many of the necessities there. Once the supply was cut, we won without a fight. We used eggs to exchange for beef, mutton, and various kinds of leather. Then we sold them to other countries and made a lot of money. Half of it went into the fund, and the other half was used to build schools for children like we are doing now. Am I not very great? I think you are fishing for praise. What great. I feel ashamed for you. Wang Wan couldn't stand Zhang Xiaobao's appearance, so she curled her lips and attacked him. Well, I am fishing for praise. I am a hypocrite. That should be enough. I am not so selfless. I want to use these things to make myself feel more at ease. When I give materials, I gain in spirit. But I am better than those who don't give at all, right? Jia. When Zhang Xiaobao saw a small river in front of him, he didn't have the slightest intention of going around the bridge. He directly urged the horse to rush into the river. No one knew if he wanted to take a shortcut or if he was angry with Wang Wan. If it were others, they would be scared, but Wang Wan was not worried at all. When the horse entered the river, she directly swam up from the horse. One hand supported the horse's body. The other hand pulled Zhang Xiaobao's clothes. After swimming to the other side, Wang Wan mounted the horse again and said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Continue. There is a mountain over there. Let the horse climb up and see if I am scared." "I am not trying to scare you. I just want to go back, quickly. You have to believe me. I can build a chicken farm for those cavalrymen. I am a good person." Zhang Xiaobao wiped the water on his face and touched the inside of his legs as he explained. "Believe you? How can you believe an international swindler? It is better to believe that pigs can climb trees and roosters can lay eggs. At least there is a possibility of genetic mutation." "What? Does it hurt? Don't you have good writing skills?" Wang Wan said with a bit of schadenfreude. "That's why I said that I am a practical person. If it hurts, it hurts. It is better than some people who say that it doesn't hurt. After a few times of pain, it will be fine. Don't forget, we are the same kind of people. We don't care about this kind of pain." Jia. After replying to Wang Wan, Zhang Xiaobao urged the horse again. The combined weight of the two people was not as heavy as an adult, especially those strong bailiffs. One of them could reach twice their weight. The two of them were light and didn't carry any weapons. The needles in their sleeves didn't count. Faster, faster. Do you see two children riding horses in front of us? Li Cheng was sitting in the carriage. It was not easy to resist a bumpy carriage with 4 horses. He endured the feeling of nausea and asked the driver loudly, "I don't see them. Maybe they went the wrong way." The coachman shouted loudly and waved his whip to make the horses go faster. He also felt a little ashamed. This road was directly passed through. A carriage with 4 horses couldn't catch up with the horses ridden by 2 children. If this was known, it would be shameful. Faster, it is impossible to get lost. Wait, overtake the carriage in front and ask them. Li Cheng was also depressed. He was delayed for a while, but he couldn't even see the shadow of the horse in front. He didn't believe that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's riding skills were so good. When he opened the curtain of the carriage and looked in front, he found that the carriage of the 2 children was not slow. "Do you see your son?" When they passed the carriage, Li Cheng shouted to the opposite side from the window. "I don't see him. He must be in front. You can see the hoof prints on the road. The hoof of that horse is a little different from other horses. It is bigger," Shirlu hurriedly replied. At the same time, she urged the carriage to hurry up. The other party had already overtaken them. As for the hoof prints, of course, she did not see it. The male servant who came with her used to be a hunter and was very good at tracking. Otherwise, he would not have been sent. "I know. Go after them." Li Cheng couldn't see the difference of the hoof prints, but he believed that the people in the carriage were also anxious. After all, their master was in front of them. What if the 2 children were in danger? He should be trusted by them. "Hurry up at this speed. We will be back before noon. The horse is good." Zhang Xiaobao also said to Wang Wan at this time. Chapter 158. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan rode on the same horse, far ahead of the carriage behind them. Horses could take shortcuts, but carriages couldn't. Therefore, the distance between the 2 of them was so far that the carriage behind them couldn't catch up. After running for more than 2 hours, Zhang Xiaobao finally stopped. This place happened to be next to a depression where there was water after the rain. The horse could drink some water and eat the grass beside it at the same time. While the horse was eating and drinking, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to poke the bubbles. Although it was only a little more than 2 hours, if the two of them wanted to reach the point where they were one with the horse, they had to control the ups and downs of their bodies. Both of their legs were rubbed with large blisters. He took out the needles in his sleeves and gently poked the blisters. After a stream of water flowed out, he peeled off the white skin above, revealing the pink flesh inside. Xiaobao, it really hurts. Wang Wan looked at the flesh on her leg and complained. Yes, it really hurts. What can we do? Wait, let me see. This era is good. Many wild things have been preserved. For example, this is a bag of horse dung, also known as a bag of ash. Come on, just spray some of it and it will be fine. Zhang Xiaobao wandered around in a circle and really did let him find something good. Originally, he wanted to get some wild vegetable juice to apply to the wound, such as dandelion, also known as dandelion, which had some effect. He didn't expect to find something good to stop bleeding, a bag of horse dung. He used a needle to make a small hole and squeezed it at the wound on Wang Wan's leg. A stream of powder sprayed out. This powder not only stopped bleeding, but also sterilized. Wang Wan was in so much pain that she clenched her teeth and sweat flowed down her forehead. She pinched the area around the wound with both hands to slow down the nerve reaction. After he finished spraying Wang Wan, Zhang Xiaobao also had to spray himself. He was also in so much pain that he was sweating profusely, but he did not make a sound. This was a habit he had developed in the past. If he could shout out, it could reduce the pain, but it would also let others find out where he was. After waiting for a while, the two of them got on their horses again. The moment they got on their horses, their expressions changed at the same time. The place where the medicine had just been applied was in excruciating pain. The two of them got used to it for a few seconds before urging their horses to run faster again. They also followed suit. After they had walked for 45 minutes, the carriage behind them finally caught up. Li Cheng didn't know how to check the tracks. This location was on the side of the main road, so he directly passed by it. After a while, when Pomegranate arrived, the hunter stopped the carriage and got off to take a look. He didn't want to have a stable rear. He didn't want anything to happen that he couldn't control. He had to go back as soon as possible. He only occupied 4,000 mu. He couldn't be greedy for other places. That was a time bomb. Xiaobao, don't worry. It won't be so fast. I think everyone is celebrating now. It will be fine when we go back. Those mountains are good. We can use them. Have you thought about what to do? Wang Wan hugged Zhang Xiaobao behind and comforted him. In fact, she was also worried. That imperial nephew was like a tiger with a bloody mouth, waiting to eat them. If it wasn't for the auspicious sign, people in the province would have already given them the land and the restaurant. At that time, the only way was to go to Shangjing City and let the emperor know. Li Longji was now preparing to govern the country well. He would definitely not allow such a situation to happen. But at that time, the loss would not be small. The land and the restaurant would be returned, but who would be responsible for the delay? I've already prepared. When the time comes, cut down those trees that can't produce and plant fruit trees on them. Batch by batch, the trees can be burned into charcoal and sold for money. It can be used for heating and removing moisture. Originally, we could plant some terraced fields. I'm afraid that when there's a lot of rain, the mud and stones above will wash down. Zhang Xiaobao also tried his best to suppress the frustration in his heart. He wasn't worried about his own family, but he was worried about Wang Wan's father. When he did things, he didn't think twice. In a moment of happiness, he went to occupy the land. If someone caught him, it would be troublesome. And this is a good idea. If we don't plant the land, we can plant fruit trees. When the time comes, we can make all kinds of fruits. We can also make money. We don't have to pay taxes to the higher-ups. We can plant anything. It's said that there are watermelons and cabbages at this time, but we haven't seen them here. Let people look for them. The watermelon seeds taste good. The cabbages can be stored for a while in winter. They can be made into pickles and stewed with fatty meat. When we go back, let them occupy 4,000 mu of land. Let's see who can find the problem. Wang Wan also echoed. At the same time, she thought that there should be watermelons and cabbages at this time. If they look for them elsewhere, they can solve a lot of problems in winter. The cabbages also contain some sugar. It's not only a staple food. If they only eat cabbages, they won't starve to death after half a month. Watermelons taste sweet. They can try to make some sugar. Even if they only eat the watermelon seeds, they can put some seasonings. There's also Zhang Xiaobao's 13 spices. They can fry it with sugar and salt. Another snack. Zhang Xiaobao let the horse go to a small road and said to Wang Wan, who said that I won't occupy the 1,000 mu. I only occupy 4,000 mu on the surface. The 1,000 mu of land can't run away. I won't give up the things in my hands. It's a good opportunity to set a trap for people who have ideas about me. Let's see who will be fooled. I know you don't have good intentions. Tell me, how do you occupy it? When Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao's words, the reluctance in her heart disappeared. She believed that since Zhang Xiaobao dared to say it, he will be able to do it. It's a secret. I can't tell you now. When you occupy it, you will understand. If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Stop pretending to be mysterious. They rushed all the way. When it was almost noon, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan rode their horses and finally stepped into the boundary of Tuqiao village. They ran past the Gu family's Zhuangzi. Under the surprised eyes of the Gu family's villagers, they ran across the small bridge. The sound of firecrackers had not stopped until now. From time to time, it sounded in a certain place. The two Zhuangzi villagers all came out and ate and drank in front of the two main families' courtyards. Needless to say, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew that the two families were treating them to a meal. They had gotten a fake official, so of course they had to celebrate. When the villagers saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan one by one, they stood up and greeted them. This time, the two little ancestors were even more impressive. They had an official in their family, a 7th-rank official. The county magistrate of Sanshui County was only a 7th-rank official. Moreover, they also had 500 villagers. At this time, they did not have to worry about paying rent. When the harvest was bad, such a good main family would definitely reduce the rent. The main family did not have to pay grain. The only thing they had to think about was how to make up for the 500 villagers. Even if the main family of Zhangji Zhuangzi and Zhuangzi recruited some villagers from other places, it was not enough to make up for the 500 villagers. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan slowed down and greeted the villagers with a smile. When the horses came to a stop in front of the courtyard, the two of them sat on the horses and looked at each other. Neither of them wanted to get off. It was painful. The action of getting off the horse was not that easy to do. What should we do? Wang Wan pressed on the horse's back with her hands, trying to reduce the force on her legs as much as possible. She asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Easy, watch me. Someone come and carry us down." When Wang Wan thought that he would get off first, Zhang Xiaobao shouted to the people beside him. Naturally, there were villagers coming over. They felt that it was an honor to be able to carry the two little ancestors. When the two of them got off the horse and squatted there, their families also rushed over. "Father, have you chosen the land?" Zhang Xiaobao asked his father. "Not yet, I'm still choosing." Father Zhang knew that his son had plans. "That's good. Let's talk inside." "Father, carry me inside." Zhang Xiaobao, who was relieved, opened his arms. Chapter 159. The noon sky seemed to be even hotter. The wind that blew in from outside the car carried an unbearable temperature, causing people to sweat uncontrollably. The chirping birds gave people a feeling of irritation. The sky seemed to be gray and white, and the clouds seemed to be pressing down on people's hearts. Occasionally, they would see chickens pecking on the sand outside, which was very annoying. Sitting in the bumpy carriage, Li Chang was in no mood to urge the carriage to hurry up. He regretted that he didn't bring more water and ice. He didn't bring more. He wanted to stop and ask for water, but he was afraid of wasting time. When he opened the carriage curtain, the hot wind blew in from outside, as well as the omnipresent sunlight. When he put down the curtain, he sweated more and faster. Where are they? Where did they go? Did they grow wings and fly away? The carriage with 4 horses couldn't catch up with the 2 children's horses. Could it be that they couldn't find the way and ran elsewhere? Li Chang muttered in a low voice while wiping the endless sweat. The sound of whips and shouts outside the carriage reached his ears from time to time, making him anxious and a little worried. The noon sky did not seem to be too hot. The wind that blew in from outside the car brought about a decent temperature, making people feel warm. The birds that could not stop chirping gave people a warm feeling. The sky looked blue, and the clouds seemed to be more leisurely. Occasionally, they would see chickens pecking on the sand outside, which was also interesting. Wang Wan and the other 3 people sat in the carriage, wondering if the little master and the little lady had returned home. They believed that the little ancestor would never go the wrong way. Since the hunter said that the little ancestor could give the horses a rest, she must be familiar with these things. This is good. In the future, the 2 families don't have to worry about not having a good life. By then, there will be a lot of food left in Zhuangzi every year, and there will be so much land. Even if it's in the mountains, cherries will have a place to raise more chickens. As the carriage swayed, Pomegranate thought about the future and muttered happily. The 3 people next to her heard and nodded. They were from the inner courtyard, and the main family was not only good to the villagers, but also to them. At night, there were people who took turns to keep watch. Their usual clothes were the same and were made by the master. When it came to meals, they were also allowed to choose a few dishes. After they had made their choice, the kitchen would make it for them. Occasionally, they would even be given a small amount of money to buy something they liked. This was something that would not even be possible in other farmsteads. That was when the main family did not have an official position and did not have so much food. Now that they had so much, their life in the future could only be better. At noon, the sky seemed to be very good. The wind from all directions made people feel relaxed and cool, making people feel very comfortable. The chirping birds brought people a kind of happy feeling. The sky looked so high, and the clouds seemed to be more charming. Occasionally, when they saw chickens pecking on the sand outside, they felt that happiness was in front of them. The villagers of Zhuangzi, Zhang family, and Wang family were eating mutton soup today. They put cut sheep and mutton in bowls, poured a spoonful of soup boiled with mutton bones and mutton oil, sprinkled some coriander and scallion foam on top, and sprinkled some pepper to get rid of the bad smell. After drinking a mouthful, they felt comfortable and sweaty, which made people shiver, and all the heat was gone. The big flatbread pasted in the earthen stove was crispy, soft, and fragrant. The children ran around excitedly, and occasionally they would be caught by the adults and given a few slaps on the buttocks to make them drink the mutton soup, so that it would not be cold. The person in charge of serving the soup did not care whether or not the soup would turn cold. He left the dry ingredients inside, poured the soup away, and then scooped another spoonful. It did not matter. He just added some water and put in some mutton oil. On the tables of several older villagers, there were some chopped sheep's face. As for the sheep's tail, the sheep's kidney, and the sheep's eggs, they naturally could not be taken out. They were left in the young master's storeroom to freeze. The young master had already instructed that these things were to be left for his family to eat, as there was not enough for the villagers to share. The men had eaten and sweated a lot. They took off their shirts, bared their arms, and shared a bowl of wine with others, loudly talking about Zhuangzi. The women, on the other hand, looked after the children for a while, and took care of the elders in the family. At this moment, the leaves on the trees by the river seemed to stretch out. A gentle breeze blew past, and the fragrance of rice, lotus, and earth also entered people's nostrils. Occasionally, the sound of dogs barking also carried a trace of cheerfulness. The naughty children, regardless of whether they were boys or girls, were running around in the surroundings. Occasionally, someone would jump into the small muddy river with little water. When they climbed out, they would be slapped a few times, crying and looking for other companions to play with. After a while, they would forget about the slap and jump back into the river again. They did not think as much as the adults. They did not know what tomorrow would be like in Zhuangzi. With a sugar ball, they could be happy for a day. With so many people together, they felt safe. Every time the master asked them to eat together, they felt like it was a festival. The farmers in Zhuangzi stayed at home or sat in front of the door. They talked to their neighbors about the Zhang family and Wang family. They were envious and helpless. Their children unknowingly walked across the small bridge and watched the scene of eating and drinking from a distance. They licked their lips, squatted down, and looked for things on the ground that they could play with. Even if there were a few ants moving things, they could still stare at them for a long time. If they felt that the ants were moving too slowly, they would pick up a small stick and help to send it to the ant hole. When the ants dragged the prey into the hole, the children felt happy again. Brother Shirtu, what are you doing here? I brought you a biscuit. There are a lot of sesame seeds on it. A little boy in Zhuangzi had just caught a worm from a tree and put it on the ground for the ants to eat when a little girl's voice rang in his ears. When the boy heard the voice, he looked up at the little girl and then at the biscuit in her hand. He swallowed his saliva and shook his head. Sister Yezi, you eat it. This is from your master. I don't want it. I'll go home and eat it when I'm hungry. There's meat in it. Half of it is fat, and the other half is lean. Grandpa asked me to bring it to you. Last year, I accidentally fell into the river, and you fished me out. Here. The 5 or 6-year-old girl handed the biscuit to Shirtu with a sincere look on her face. Shirtu looked at the biscuit in a daze. He shook his head and said, I really don't want it. I'm a farmer in Zhuangzi. If I want to eat it, the master will make it for us. Really? But there are no officials in your village. I heard from Grandpa that the master in Zhuangzi is now a high-ranking official. He's not a village official anymore. He's just a little bit below the county magistrate. The little girl squatted down and repeated the words of the adults, while watching Brother Shirtu use a wooden stick to suppress the worm for the ants to eat. Really? In order to congratulate the Zhangjie Zhuangzi and the Wang family, Zhuangzi of the Gu family will also kill sheep. A voice came from the side. The 2 children looked up and saw Shirtu immediately stand up with a question mark. Master, I didn't ask for anything from Zhuangzi. Guingxi and Wei Wei nodded. Originally, he came to congratulate the 2 families, but he didn't expect to hear the words of the 2 children. When the children said it, he didn't think much of it, but when he heard it, he felt as if a knife had stabbed into his heart. He thought about how the restaurant between the clouds and the water would get a lot of money this year. The autumn harvest was also good, and all taxes could be waived. If he was as stingy as before, the farmer's heart would run elsewhere. He decided to kill a few sheep for the farmer to eat. He also gave face to the Zhang family and Wang family. After all, he was celebrating with them. Master Gu, I'll treat you to a biscuit. When Miss Yi saw the master of the Gu family coming over, she obediently handed over the biscuit in her hand. She was not afraid of the people of Zhuangzi of the Gu family, even if it was the master. She was the farmer of the Wang family, and even if the county magistrate came here, she was not afraid. Gu Ingshi was stunned for a moment, but he really did take the biscuit in his hand. He took a bite and said, It's delicious, but you gave it to me. What are you going to eat? Me? I still have some when I go back. The madam of the master family said that we have to repay kindness. If the farmer can't repay the kindness of the Wang family, the master will. I gave this to Brother Shirtu. Without Brother Shirtu, I would have drowned last year. When I grow up and can do things, I will work hard for the master family. Little Yi smiled sweetly and explained there. She waved her small fist to show her determination. Gu Ingshi heard these words and really didn't know what to say. He just casually said something and took the biscuit he ate before walking to the main courtyard of Zhang Zhuangzi. Steward Zhang followed behind him. It was very lively outside. In the courtyard of the Zhang family, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were having the doctor apply ice tablets and other medicine to their wounds while discussing with their family about the 4,000 mu of land. Xiaobao, Cuckoo, what happened to the two of you? You actually lost such a large piece of skin. Where did Pomegranate and the others go? When Zhang Wang clan saw the wounds on her son and daughter-in-law, she was very distressed. She asked the doctor in Zhuangzi to treat them while frowning and asking. After the ice tablets were applied, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan felt much better. There was no sign of discomfort on their faces, and they didn't cry like other children. Mother, it's nothing. It's just a small injury. I'll be fine in a few days. Little Wan and I came back because we were afraid that you would take the 5,000 mu of land and report it to the county government. Then our family would be in trouble. This time, we can only take the 4,000 mu of land granted by the imperial court. There are still people waiting for opportunities there. Zhang Xiaobao nodded to the doctor who was treating him and explained to his mother. Ah, you can't take the 5,000 mu? That place is just right. Dr. Pang, be gentle. Xiaobao is in pain. Zhang Wang clan was stunned for a moment. She replied to Zhang Xiaobao and then said to the doctor. Chapter 160. Dr. Pang was very careful, but he didn't see any sign of pain on the young master's face. While he felt that Madame Zhang's actions were unnecessary, he also sighed at the young master's tenacity. A child, in order to rush back earlier, riding a horse all the way and causing such a big wound on his leg, he didn't even frown when applying medicine. It was as if the wound was on someone else. However, he had to be more careful. He was originally a doctor, but he wasn't very familiar with some herbs. After joining Zhang Zhuangzi in order to improve his medical skills, Zhang Zhuangzi actually bought him a lot of herbs and gave him the opportunity to continue learning. Now, he had become a scholar and a doctor. He understood that his current position was built with money from the Zhang family's manor. He had also signed an irrevocable contract. Some time ago, the Zhang family's manor would not allow him to buy medicinal herbs that were too expensive. Now, as long as he could name it, the Zhang family's manor would think of a way to get it for him. He naturally knew who paid for it. It was all provided by the young master's storehouse. Now that he was treating the young master, he didn't dare to be careless. This was the time to see his medical skills. He had a small pharmacy in his own courtyard. The things in it added up to nearly 1,000 taels of silver. If the young master was not satisfied, then he would have nothing. Who would be willing to spend 1,000 taels of silver to support an idle person? Therefore, he could only apply medicine while looking at the young master and young lady's expressions. His movements couldn't be any lighter. Dr. Pang, hurry up. Applying medicine is not embroidery. The pain will pass after a while. Cuckoo, and I still believe in your medical skills. Zhang Xiaobao maintained a motionless posture so that Dr. Pang could apply the medicine. He didn't expect Dr. Pang to be so slow and delay things. Okay, young master. I'm done, but there is some newly ground dead skin on the side that needs to be cleaned. Please bear with it. Dr. Pang was really convinced. The young master and young lady didn't seem to care about the pain at all. Their hands moved faster as they spoke again. Give us the knife. We'll do it ourselves. You're too slow. In the future, remember to be quick when you treat the villagers. Just bear with it. As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he took the knife from Wang Wan and removed the white skin and flesh around the wound. His face was still calm, but his hands were not slow at all. After a while, the rotten flesh and skin around the wound were removed by the two of them, and red blood seeped out from the edges. All right, hurry up and apply the ointment. We still have serious matters to discuss. Zhang Xiaobao handed the knife back and urged Dr. Pang. At this time, Dr. Pang couldn't say anything. He could only do as the young master said and quickly applied the medicine. When he was about to take the cloth bag, Wang Wan also spoke. There's no need to wrap it. It recovers slowly. Just leave it like this, and it will be healed tomorrow. Children's bodies grow fast, and the skin heals well. Thank you, Dr. Pang. Dr. Pang had to leave. He really didn't understand why the young master and young lady were so strong. If it were an adult, they would have to wait for him to tell them what to pay attention to. But looking at the young lady, it seemed that she knew more about this kind of external injury than he did. Xiao Bao Cuckoo, does it hurt? Sai, this family, I actually have to worry about you. To be honest, if you came back later, we really would have fenced up the 5,000 mu of land. It's all my fault. I haven't seen much of the world and didn't know that it would cause trouble. The people of the Zhang family and the Wang family were sitting around Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Looking at the two children personally cutting the meat, they felt that the knife didn't seem to cut the children's bodies, but their hearts. They understood that the Zhang family and the Wang family's Zhuangzi today was all because of the two children. In other families, the adults took care of the children. They didn't expect that in their own family, the children would take care of the adults. While they felt gratified, they felt even more bitter. Zhang Xiaobao said sadly as she reached out to touch her son and daughter-in-law's face. Zhang Xiaobao smiled and said, "Mom, don't worry. It's okay if it hurts a little. No matter how painful it is, it can't compare to when you gave birth to me." That little brat Li Sun always had ideas about our family. If he really fenced up the 5,000 mu of land, he would have an excuse. His father is the provincial governor of our province. Wang Wan also said, "Mom, don't worry about our injuries. We'll be fine after more grinding. Now let's look at the land." Xiao Bao already has an idea. Those 1,000 mu of land on the surface will be thrown away, but in fact, it will still belong to our family. The two Zhuangzi have more than 400 real laborers. There are still more than 100 positions left. But we need to think about whether we should wait for the children in Zhuangzi to grow up and put them in those positions or buy some from outside. I think it's better to wait. The children will eventually grow up. From now on, we should leave the positions for them. This way, the adults in their families will work harder. If we think about it in the long run, we can leave the positions empty first. Let them wait, and let those who want to join Zhuangzi look forward to it. 2 Zhuangzi, 500 is nothing. In the future, it might be 1,000 or even 2,000, who knows? Yes, I have a good son and a good daughter-in-law. It will be better in the future. Those poultry will come back. When that time comes, every family will be able to eat meat. But chicken is not easy to sell. If we sell it to ordinary people, they won't be able to afford it. If we sell it to the rich, they won't eat it and will leave. Come, put on airs and carry the young master and his wife to the Zhuangzi. At this time, the two families were under the control of Zhang Xiaobao. Not only because she was Zhang Xiaobao's mother, but also because she was smart and learned things quickly. She did not have any problems in managing the household accounts. Her handwriting was beautiful, and she was also good-looking. Otherwise, Father Zhang would not be so afraid of his wife. The Wang family did not raise any objections. They were most afraid that Zhang Xiaobao would be angry. If he did not want Cuckoo, where would they find such a capable son-in-law or grandson-in-law? What made them feel the most secure about Zhang Xiaobao was that no matter what happened, he could always wait there and strategize. Whether it was an immortal or a monster, he knew how to be filial to his parents and help his family. It didn't matter what they were. Zhuangzi of the Wang family had a lot of advantages this time. It was all because they had a good daughter, or rather, a good granddaughter. Otherwise, how could Zhang Xiaobao manage the Wang family? The Wang family naturally understood this. Wu Qiwei was a secondary class, 7th rank official. Although it was an idle position, if something really happened, he did not need to kneel in front of the government. Instead, he would be given a seat. In the future, he would no longer need to be controlled by the elders and the village chief. The two of them were not even considered outsiders, so how could they compete with a 7th rank official? As long as the Wang family had a little boy, they would not have to worry about anything in the future. For this reason, Wang Wan's father even discussed with her father whether he should take in a concubine. In the end, he was scolded harshly by the old Master Wang. When he saw the granddaughter and grandson-in-law together, he knew that the two of them would definitely not allow the adults in the family to find another woman for them. If it were other families, they might not care about the thoughts of such a small child. But who would dare to do that between the Zhang Xiaobao and the Wang family? Zhang Xiaobao had his own people and his own connections. Song Jinggong, Erniu, Xiaohong, cherries, pomegranate, ergo, Susi. And Huzi only listened to the young master's orders. Looking at how the people in the inner courtyard treated the two children, could it be that they would kill the two children just to find a second woman? When Wang Wan's father heard the old master's words, he finally gave up on the idea of finding another woman. In order to have a son, he could only work harder. He asked his future son-in-law for some lamb kidneys, lamb eggs, ox kidneys, and ox eggs. When he thought of this son-in-law, Wang Wan's father had an indescribable sense of satisfaction. What a good son-in-law! Not only did he give him those things, but he also told him to eat more soybeans, eat more green onions, how to make a dog meat pot, and eat less celery. These were all things that could strengthen one's sex drive. Where else could he find such a good son-in-law? Thus, the matter of taking in a concubine came to an end. Father Wang admitted that he did not dare to test the limits of his daughter and son-in-law. A group of more than 20 people walked towards Shaoquan Mountain near Zhuangzi. The adults walked by themselves, while Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, as the injured, were carried by people on a stretcher. Each stretcher required 4 people to carry it. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sat side by side on the stretcher as the group moved towards the mountain. Xiaobao, why do I feel like this place is more than 5,000 mu? Wang Wan said to Zhang Xiaobao as she sucked on a bamboo tube and drank the juice in a cup. After looking at the mountains, she said this to Zhang Xiaobao. It's a problem with measuring technology. This is measured by steps. How can it be compared to measuring by light? Light is also not accurate on this mountain. It can only measure the distance in a straight line. Unless you use light many times, and then use calculus to calculate the limit of this place. If you really want to measure, use a spiral micrometer. Humans have a habit. When going downhill, they will unnaturally take bigger steps. When going uphill, they will deliberately take bigger steps in order to measure more accurately. I estimate that the area of these mountains is close to 6,000 mu. It's because there is no aerial mapping technology here. Zhang Xiaobao was thinking about how to get 4,000 mu of land. It was not standardized to begin with. If someone were to take smaller steps and be more serious, this place could be used as an attack. However, the original measurement was around 5,000 mu. If they really only took up 4,000 mu, there would be an extra 2,000 mu. It was really difficult to choose. Xiaobao, you are right. The measurement of the area is not so accurate in this era. Have you thought of a solution? Wang Wan also understood the difficulty of the choice at this time. Should they choose less than 4,000 mu? Or should they choose more? According to the original measurement data, this was not an easy thing to do. Chapter 161. That's easy. We'll occupy 4,000 mu of land. Even if he can measure 10,000 mu, we'll only take 4,000 mu. Give me the map, and I'll see what we should do. Zhang Xiaobao had already come up with a plan according to his own ideas. Who knew that when he arrived at the place, the situation here was different from what he imagined. The measurement method was too primitive. The original 6,000 mu of land turned out to be about 5,000 mu after the measurement. The main reason was that this place was full of hills, so it was not easy to get an accurate number directly. Those who came to measure were not serious, but Zhang Xiaobao had to be more careful. He was afraid that Li would come to make trouble. Faced with this matter, Zhang Xiaobao had to make a new plan. He took the map from Wang Wan's hands and looked at it carefully. He began to make arrangements for the people around him, especially those who were responsible for recording things. This mountain and the one next to it need to be circled. In the future, it will be the place of Zhang family and Wang family. Don't go over there. Go over there. Choose that ridge. Yes, that place. Don't go down. Zhang Xiaobao was carried everywhere. Everywhere he went, he circled an area. Even when it was nighttime, he did not circle all the areas. He could only wait until the next day to continue. The people were confused by Zhang Xiaobao. Finally, they returned to Zhuangzi before it was dark. At this time, Pomegranate and Li Cheng's 2 cars had already arrived. After hearing that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were back, Pomegranate did not say anything. She was relieved, but Li Cheng was puzzled. How could the 2 children come back on a horse? Unless the horse often ran between 2 places, it would not know the way. He wanted to find someone to ask, but the villagers had already left. The people in the inner courtyard didn't know anything. When Li Cheng encountered this situation, he took out some money from his bosom and wanted to bribe the people in the inner courtyard. Just as he was about to hand it over, he suddenly remembered that it was impossible to bribe the people of the Zhang family and Wang family with this little amount of money. He could only take it back and continue to wait in this place. Li Cheng did not mention that he wanted to visit. Naturally, the inner courtyard would not let him in. He came to inquire about the news, so he could only wait outside. He knew that Zhang family and Wang family went out to choose a place in Zhuangzi. He thought that the hidden master would also go with them. He just wanted to see who was so powerful. At dusk, Zhang Xiaobao and his entourage finally returned to the manor. Li Cheng originally wanted to approach them and ask them some questions. He had even thought of an excuse, which was to come and congratulate them. However, he found that he did not bring anything with him, only a few pieces of silver. As a result, it was not appropriate for him to approach them, as the gift was too little. The only thing he could do was to carefully observe everyone, trying to find the expert among them. He looked at them one by one, and found that none of them looked like an expert. His thoughts were simple. An expert, of course, had to look like an expert. First of all, the others should be around the master. He saw that everyone was around Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The 2 were sitting on the shelf and sleeping. How could they be masters? Even a fool would know that it was impossible. Then the next thing was to find out who the masters of the 2 Zhuangzi often looked at. As for who to talk to, well, he had already grasped this matter. The 2 main families often looked at the 2 children, so the people who talked to each other were naturally the matters between the 2 families. Let me ask you, what do you think a master should look like? Li Cheng really couldn't tell which one was the expert, so he had to ask the carriage handle beside him. When the driver heard Li Cheng's words, he was stunned. Then he said, I think that if he is an expert, then he must be unwilling to speak. Moreover, when others look at him, they feel like he is a servant. My previous master was like this. He was very good at driving a carriage, but when you look at him, people always ignore him. Young master, you can take a look. Which one of those people is always hiding behind others and never speaks? That makes sense. Well, you go and feed the horses first. Wait for me at the restaurant between the clouds and the water. I will go there when I see clearly. When Li Chengyi heard this, he felt that this was indeed the case. Those experts were always hiding in places that others didn't pay attention to. After giving the order, he stared at the group of people. As he stared, he suddenly discovered something. That was, among the 4 people who were carrying the shelf, the last one always showed half of his face, as if he was afraid of being seen by others. And no one went to talk to him. The other 3, who were carrying the shelf, would occasionally chat with him. Following the procession back, Li Cheng felt that he was right. This must be the last person. When they were outside the courtyard, Li Cheng stared hard at that person, wanting to remember his appearance so that he could find someone to draw it for the young marquis. Just by looking at that person's appearance, Li Cheng knew that he didn't look tired at all when he put on airs. Only such a person could possibly teach Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to be the 2 people who were running first on the ranch. Look at his eyes. I must look at his eyes. When Li Cheng stared at the man, he also walked beside him, wanting to see what the last one's eyes looked like. Well, that's him. His eyes give people a hazy feeling at first sight. There is always a smile on the corner of his mouth. If he is not a master, who can do that? After some observation, Li Chunggong was finally able to analyze the situation. He carefully memorized this person's appearance and didn't dare to tarry. He directly headed for the Water Cloud restaurant. Since they had already entered the courtyard, there was no way he could continue to follow. He thought that when he arrived at the restaurant, he would let the driver and his horse rest for a while, and then rush back overnight to tell the young master this important information. Big Mute, I already told you at lunch today, don't drink so much. If you hurt the young master and the young lady, you won't even be able to pay for your own life. All right, you should go back quickly. If I had known earlier that you would drink like this, I wouldn't have let you put on airs. There is some food here. When you leave, bring it back to Xiao Mute. I heard from Dr. Pang that your son may be cured. In the future, do more work. The owner will pay for it. You are so pitiful. When the team entered the yard, Steward Zhang ordered the last one who put on airs, who was also the master that Li Chung thought to be. Demute heard Steward Zhang's words and smiled more honestly. He opened his mouth and spat out a few syllables, while his hands also followed. You are welcome. Who asked you to be the farmer? Do your job well. Go. Steward Zhang waved his hand and let Demute leave. At the same time, he sighed. Demute had been mute since he was young. He was a good person and smiled at everyone. In the end, he gave birth to a son who was also mute. Fortunately, Dr. Pang said that this illness may be cured. The owner agreed, and all the money would be paid by the owner. Unfortunately, Demute loved to drink. He did not need to drink too much. After drinking a bowl, he would become muddle-headed and would not speak. When he drank too much, he would smile, giving people an unfathomable feeling. Later, everyone got used to it. As long as he smiled like this, he would definitely drink a lot. Night slowly fell. Today, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not get up to study. They lay there with their legs propped up to minimize the friction. When they could not sleep, they chatted. Xiaobao, look at how round the moon is. There is Chang, Yi, and Jade Rabbit on it. Wang Wan looked at the moon outside through the open window and said to Zhang Xiaobao, Yes, there is also Wu Gang. He is chopping trees over there. If I had to say, this person is stupid. If he were to chop with an axe, he would not put something in the gap. Otherwise, the tree would not be able to grow back. How silly. Zhang Xiaobao echoed. I think he drank too much. The osmanthus wine must have too much alcohol. He drank it all the time. Of course, he did not think of putting something in it, or there was nothing to put in it. Wang Wan helped Wu Gang correct his name. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head and disagreed. How can there be nothing to put in it? Can't the jade rabbit's medicine be put in it? Even if those things are too little, there are medicinal materials. For example, Sichuan pepper is also a kind of medicinal material. As long as there is a place on the tree and the Sichuan pepper is put in it, the tree will die. Then the tree will die, and it will die from the roots upwards. The hole will be smaller, and it won't be easy for others to find out why the tree died. Before the tree dies, it will regrow the hole. I've tried it before, and it's very useful. Really? Whose tree did you try it on? Wang Wan asked curiously. On the mountain behind the orphanage. Originally, we could go to that place casually. There were a lot of wild fruits on the mountain. Later, it was contracted by someone, and a lot of fruit trees were planted. We just wanted to pick some mountain red. We were not going to steal his fruit, but he did not let us pick it. He surrounded the entire foot of the mountain, and there was only one road. We didn't think too much about it. We picked up some mushrooms, and were going to sell them for money. He led 2 dogs to block us at the foot of the mountain and took away all the mushrooms we picked up with great difficulty. He accused us of stealing. When Zhang Xiaobao was talking, he felt that there was no jumping feeling on his leg. He knew that there was no pus, so he was relieved. Oh, he bought the mountain. It is indeed his place. Then what happened? Wang Wan asked again. Then we took the small awl and secretly went there with the Sichuan pepper. We drilled a small hole on the fruit tree, put the Sichuan pepper in it, and blocked it with mud. Who let him rob our mushrooms? Zhang Xiaobao said with grievance. You are so wicked. You are breaking the law. It is not easy for him to buy the mountain. But he did not spend money. He is the nephew of the district chief over there. Go to sleep. There is no Chang'e. There is. But you did not see it. It is an immortal. Otherwise, how can we come here? Chapter 162. The moonlight was twinkling, and the stars were shining. Whispering, hurrying on the road. In the middle of the night, Li Cheng finally couldn't wait any longer. He called the carriage, mounted the horse, and hurried back. He was afraid that if he forgot what that person looked like, it would be difficult for someone to draw him when he returned. The crisp sound of the horses' hooves sounded in the night. A lantern hung in front of the carriage, illuminating the bumpy road. After the night watch at night found this situation, he waited until the next morning and ran to Zhang Zhuangzi to report to Zhang Xiaobao. Oh, I know. He may have some problems with his head. Don't worry about him. Tell the restaurant's chef to make some wild vegetables for lunch. After Zhang Xiaobao finished listening to this matter, he said indifferently, Little Gongzi, where are the wild vegetables? Now the wild vegetables are old and can't be eaten. The waiter reminded. Old? Oh, then make a wild vegetable soup. When the time comes, take the wild vegetables out. I heard that the restaurant's wine is free. Give them an extra dish, that is, braised pork. Remember, it must be fatty. Don't cook it for too long, the kind that will be greasy after eating it. The chefs can make it, right? Zhang Xiaobao changed his mind quickly and ordered to give a free dish. The waiter nodded. Yes, this little one can make it. But the meat is expensive. Is the meat more expensive or the wine more expensive? After eating a few mouthfuls of meat, they won't be able to drink anymore. Give them the meat and save the wine. You tell them that the meat is made with a special method. After eating it, they will be strong and healthy. It will also help in the evening. Don't be afraid that they won't eat it. Yes, I will listen to little Gongzi. The waiter agreed and turned to leave. But in his heart, he thought that the little Gongzi was really evil. He could even figure out this kind of thing. After solving the problem of drinking a lot of wine, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to climb the mountain with the crowd. While climbing, they also ordered people to pick some old wild vegetables. It would be better if they could find the tender ones. In the morning, Zhang Xiaobao repeated what he had done the day before and instructed everyone to occupy a certain area. Finally, they had encircled 4,000 mu of land. From one side of the mountain to the other side, almost all of the surrounding area had been encircled. Only a few places in the middle were not encircled. Those places were the extra land. Xiaobao, you're too bad. You've encircled the land around you. Even if you don't use the land in the middle, it won't be easy for others to occupy it. When the time comes, you can secretly plant some things. Although it's 4,000 mu, you've encircled all the land in the middle. On the way back at noon, Wang Wan marked out the location that Zhang Xiaobao had circled on the map. She found that nearly 2,000 mu of land had actually been surrounded by Zhang Xiaobao with other pieces of land. The most important thing was that the location of the 2,000 mu was almost entirely in the middle of the nearby hills. There was a big slope that would take up a lot of space. The valley below was not suitable for farming at all. Zhang Xiaobao did not agree with Wang Wan's statement. He corrected, "How is it bad? I'm going to let people dig deep holes in those valleys. When the time comes, we'll raise some prawns and crabs. When no one occupies them, we'll put them there. We'll harvest them ourselves. If someone occupies them, we'll fish them out. Those are wild animals, not raised by us." I understand. Aren't you afraid that others will come to fish for prawns or crabs? Wang Wan understood now. Zhang Xiaobao did not want those valleys for this idea. If they want to come, let them come. If they want to fish for prawns, let them fish. If they want to catch crabs, let them catch them. The surrounding area is our land. How can outsiders come in? We'll also raise some prawns and crabs in those valleys that belong to us. When people come, we'll charge them a toll. The more they eat and the more they catch, the more money we'll charge. If the people who come out don't take the initiative to pay, we'll say that they stole our things. Prawns and crabs look similar. Who can prove that they caught them from a place that doesn't belong to us? Zhang Xiaobao explained as he chuckled. It was the innocent smile of a child, but Wang Wan shuddered at the sight of it. You're too cruel. I know. If someone rents that place, they have to pass through our place. At that time, they also have to pay when they go in and out, right? Yes, that's the plan. If they have the ability, then we'll charge less. What we have to do is to let others know that raising those prawns and crabs in the valleys will make money. And the money won't be a small amount. When someone comes to rent it, we'll secretly put carnivorous fish, such as snakehead fish, in there. We'll eat all their things and let them loose. Then we'll buy the place from them at a low price. It'll save us a lot of trouble and a lot of money. Whoever comes here to seek benefits will be schemed against. The smile on Zhang Xiaobao's face became more and more charming. Wang Wan looked at him from the side and sighed. Why do you always come up with such deceptive ideas? What will you do if they send someone to guard there? When you ask someone to put the fish, they will definitely be caught. For example, that imperial grandson. You'll be guilty of a big crime. Impossible. Who would be a fool to put snakehead fish? Doesn't it always rain here? Once it rains, the water on the mountain will gather and flow down. It must flow to the place where they raise prawns and crabs. Let's find some young fish and put them down from our place. If they flow to their place, we won't be caught, right? Even if they catch the young fish with a net, they don't care about the cost of manpower. We can wash the bad prawns and crabs in the rain. Those prawns and crabs must have a lot of bacteria. One dead, one nest. Remember to use lime water to sterilize in your place. When Zhang Xiaobao talked about bad ideas, it was really a trap. Everything was thought of. Wang Wan was speechless for a while. She didn't know which one would come in. Who should she blame? The two people whispered there. The family next to them didn't know what they were doing. They also didn't know that Zhang Xiaobao was calculating what would happen in the future. He specialized in deceiving people. They only thought that the two little guys had a good relationship, which made both families very happy. The Zhang family thought that Wang Wan was a good daughter-in-law. She was sensible and always stayed with Xiaobao. Other girls couldn't compare with her. The Wang family thought even more simply. With Zhang Xiaobao's idea of making money, they would have a good life in the future. The two families rushed back, asked people to send the wild vegetables and other things to the restaurant, and began to write the documents. The Yamen runners of Sanshui County had been waiting here for the past 2 days. For them, there was nothing more important than this. After writing the documents and putting their handprints, the two families had circled the land. It was only less than 4,000 mu of land. There would be no more than that. When the time came, they were not afraid of others coming to make trouble. Li Cheng, who hurried back, had already arrived at the place at this time. He came to Li Sun, who was still competing with others, and said to him, "Young Marquis, this little one knows that Zhang Zhuangzi is indeed a master. Others can't see it, but this little one knows. It's that person who never speaks and always has a smile on his face. Where you think he's hiding?" He actually lowered his status and put on airs for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. If this little one didn't look carefully, I would have been deceived by him. The other three people were talking and laughing, but he didn't speak. The people of the Zhang family and Wang family kept looking at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. This little one understands now. They weren't looking at the two children, but at the person behind them. Think about it. When they were so happy, why didn't that person say anything and even have a smile on his face? When this little one looked over, he even pretended to be stupid and smiled at this little one. Is that so? Li Sun was now in the first position. He found a nest of mice, so he didn't have to worry about lunch. Although it was a little disgusting, it was better than not eating anything. Besides, they could eat it. This time he brought some vegetable oil, which was sold by Zhang Zhuangzi. He planned to fry it for lunch. Therefore, He saved a lot of time when he was advancing. In fact, he knew that the nest of rats he found was found by his subordinates in advance, and specially marked for him. In order to get first place, he had no choice but to cheat a little. At this time, he was very happy. When he heard Li Cheng's words, he was satisfied and asked a question. Li Cheng patted his chest and promised. He replied to the young marquis. Replying to the young marquis, this little one definitely didn't see wrong. They are going to the mountain to mark the land. When the map comes out, this little one will know whether they have marked the entire land. As long as the young marquis needs it, this little one will find trouble with them. Young marquis, think about it. If they don't mark the land, will that person who never speaks go? Experts are all like this. They usually don't speak and only speak at critical times. Young marquis, if there is nothing here, this little one would like to follow your original instructions and go over there to get in touch with the experts. Get in touch with them? And that's good. That's right, you should immediately open a restaurant, whether it's in Luo Chuanxian or Sanshui County. After this grassland survival training is over, next time when you go to the desert, you should think of a way to name the restaurant. Humph. Zhang Jie Zhuangzi calculated well, but I'm not bad either. Of the 14 families we found, none of them specialize in providing a place, right? That place will be under our name. This young master doesn't have much money, so I'll earn as much as I can. While Li Sun was happy, he didn't forget that he had been schemed against. This time, between the clouds and the water took advantage of him. Thinking that he could choose where to train, naturally he would be able to find benefits for himself. Young marquis is really amazing. This little one can't flatter you. This little one will go and arrange it. Young marquis, don't worry. This little one will definitely pull that expert to our side. If the Zhang family and the Wang family don't want to let him go, this little one will use the land they have occupied as a reason. Li Cheng flattered Li Sun and didn't dare to delay the young marquis any longer. He turned and left to buy a restaurant. After that, he would go to Zhangjie Zhuangzi to find that person who didn't speak. Chapter 163. The rice seedlings were weak, and everyone was hurt. The withered grass was yellow, and it was hard to find cattle and sheep. In Hunan province, there was not a single drop of rain. The drought was a foregone conclusion. The only thing that made the people feel a little better was that they no longer had to worry about the locust plague. In addition to the more than 30,000 domestic animals that came from afar, the local domestic animals were also released. During the day, they relied on these animals to eat the grasshoppers. At night, the people lit bonfires to attract the locusts. After these days of hunting, the locust plague finally did not spread to other places. The local people also received some imported food and eggs from the domestic animals. This was especially true for those who lived close to the Yellow River. One after another, they used small rafts to travel through the much shallower water to the estuary. There, they used very low prices to buy some things. After loading them up and bringing them back, they could exchange for a lot of eggs. Some diligent people even walked back and forth a few times and found that not only was their income not less than before, it was even more. This made them feel even more grateful to the Zhang family's manner, especially Ying Tao and Lil Red. When the local people saw that the two of them were not only beautiful, but also kind, they all set up a longevity shrine and worshipped them day and night, hoping that the two of them could live to 100 years old. Xiaohong and Cherries got up today to continue looking for the remaining locusts for the domestic animals to eat. Suddenly, they received a piece of news. The masters of Zhang family and Wang family in Zhuangzi had been promoted to an official. At the same time, they also received a lot of food. Xiaohong, we succeeded. We finally forced the people above to put down the reward. We won't eat it anymore. Let's go back. We'll go back immediately. Bring the domestic animals back. Anyway, there aren't many locusts here. We'll also bring back the seafood that we haven't transported back this time. When Cherries heard the good news, she didn't want to stay here anymore. She also wanted to go back and celebrate. She was so excited that her eyes turned red. Cherries, you've made a great contribution this time. So many poultry were hatched by you. It's worth it. We've worked so hard here for so many days. It's all worth it. A 7th rank official, the same rank as a county magistrate. Xiao Hong held Cherries' hand and jumped up and down. She had finally completed the task of the young master and his wife. She had earned some merits for Zhuangzi and also received many things. These things would be of great use to the young master. Su Si, Erniu, and the others also ran over at this time. Their faces were full of excitement. This was the first time they had encountered something so exciting, especially Su Si. This time, he had organized a lot of people. After so many years, there had never been a day like today where he could participate in a matter that concerned the life and death of Zhuangzi. Thinking back to the time when he was idling in Zhuangzi of the Gu family, he knelt on the ground with a thud and shouted loudly, "The heavens have eyes and sent me, Sigo," to the young master. "Did you see? Did you see? Even I, Sigo, have such a day. From today onwards, my surname is no longer Su. My surname is Zhang. My name is Zhang Si." The people around him looked at him, but no one laughed at him. They knew what kind of life Su Si led back then. They were also glad that they had met the young master and his wife, so they had the opportunity to decide the life and death of Zhuangzi. They succeeded. Not only did they use righteousness to pressure the imperial court to give them a reward, but they also earned a lot of things this time. When they returned to Zhuangzi, they would definitely see the young master and his wife's happy faces. In the future, Zhangji Zhuangzi would not be like the other ordinary Zhuangzi. With Cherries' order, more than 30,000 poultry were gathered together. Countless local cars were hired to carry these heroes, and the things they had exchanged for majestically returning home. In Zhangji Zhuangzi, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were lying on the couch. Each of them was holding a book in their hands and reading it in boredom. The two of them had stopped training and were focused on recuperating. "I'm not reading anymore. Xiaobao, are you okay now? Can we still go to the wilderness survival training?" Wang Wan put aside the book in her hands and looked up at the ceiling. "Let's see if the leg can recover. If it's not, then let's continue to recuperate. The older children have a long time, and there are still many days before they can finish their training in the grasslands." Zhang Xiaobao also felt a little vexed. He was recuperating all day and couldn't do anything else. "Oh, then let's wait. Xiaobao, do you know the Yunnan Baiyao? That thing recovers very quickly. It's better to get some." Wang Wan agreed verbally, but she was still a little unsatisfied. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. "This thing is too difficult. I heard that there is a kind called Tang Sanchi. I don't know if it looks the same as Tang Sanchi. I've never seen it before. Give up. Sleep. Sleep is the fastest way to recover. Sleep well, I'm not reading anymore. When I wake up, I eat. When I'm full, I sleep. When I'm happy, I hum twice." Wang Wan closed her eyes and muttered, "Yes, like a pig." Zhang Xiaobao replied and also closed his eyes. Night soon fell. Li Cheng, who had been busy for 2 days, once again rushed to Tuqiao village. He really couldn't bear the sleepiness, so he asked for a courtyard between the clouds and the water and slept until dawn. He held the picture that he asked others to draw based on his memory and began to walk around Zhangji Zhuangzi. It was still cool early in the morning. After walking around, he still didn't see the master. He stood outside the school and listened to the children for a while. He felt bored and found that the weather was hot, so he had to walk to the market. There were already people here all day, especially the tea stall. As long as the weather was a little hot, he would definitely not miss it. Even if there were only a few people coming to drink tea, he could still sit there and enjoy the summer. "Old man, there are too few people in your stall. Can you make money by staying here for a day?" Li Cheng asked the old man, who was boiling water. He asked for a bowl of tea and drank it. In front of him was a small plate with a handful of white melon seeds. He ate one from time to time. Thinking of the master, he asked the old man, who was boiling water, There are few people at this time, but it will be better in the afternoon. When there are many people, there is no place to sit. You can't make too much money, but it's better than farming. My place can't compare to the 3 zhuangzi here. It's so dry that there is nothing left. After the old man finished adding firewood, he moved a small stool and sat aside. He looked at the sky and said to Li Cheng. Li Cheng forced himself to swallow the disgusting tea. He put the bowl aside, grabbed the melon seeds, and slowly ate them. He was thinking about something in his heart, but he didn't speak. Young man, you are not a local, right? You look unfamiliar. Are you here to buy more things to sell elsewhere? I advise you to leave. The things here are not allowed to be bought and sold. If you are rich, go to the grocery store over there and find Ergo. He will give you a price. The old man was also bored. He looked at Li Cheng and thought that he was a businessman who came here to do business. He was afraid that he didn't know the rules, so he advised him. Li Cheng was thinking about where the master lived and when he would show up. When he heard the old man's words, he was stunned for a moment and asked curiously, "Why can't I just buy here? Won't it be cheaper if I buy more?" "Young man, do you really want to buy things?" the old man asked. "Well, since I have nothing to do, I want to see what goods are here. If I buy them, I will have good luck and sell them elsewhere. Can I just buy them directly? Do I have to find that dog?" Li Cheng was really puzzled. It was the first time he heard that money couldn't buy things. The old man chuckled and got up to add some water to Li Cheng's bowl. He grabbed a handful of melon seeds and put them on the plate in front of Li Cheng. He said, "The price of the things here is all decided by Ergo. In order to not let the people who buy and sell lose, the price has to be set every day. Looking at you, I know you want to buy more to lower the price. It's useless. No matter how much you buy, it will be the same price. If you want a cheaper price, you can only find Ergo. Otherwise, no one will dare to lower the price for you. What? Is that Ergo more powerful than the government? He can do whatever he wants? I don't believe it." Li Cheng, who didn't think much of it, heard the old man's words. He felt that Ergo was too arrogant. He dared to set the price? Why? Even if you don't believe it, you have to hold on. No one here dares to disagree. Whoever disagrees can forget about doing business here in the future. This place belongs to the Wang family in Zhuangzi. If they tell you to leave, do you dare to not leave? Young man, don't be so angry. This is good. No one has come to deceive people. This was not the first time the old man had met such people. He had said the same words many times. There were people who were more angry, but they were still driven away in the end. Besides, he did not want to let some foreign merchants mess up the price. Buying low and selling high, how could this be a market for the poor? Li Cheng understood now. The Wang family was in Zhuangzi. Naturally, they could let anyone come. Those who didn't follow the rules could only be driven away. Thinking of this, his eyes suddenly lit up. He felt that he had a way to threaten the Wang family in Zhuangzi. He asked the old man, "Old man, how much tax do you have to pay here? Who will collect it? It can't be that Ergo, right?" As he spoke, he just waited for the old man to tell him the tax. When the time came, he would ask others. In that case, he would be charged with the crime of embezzlement and contempt of the imperial court. The more serious case would be rebellion. If not, why did you dare to tax on behalf of the imperial court? The old man looked at Li Cheng and sighed again. "Young man, put away your little thoughts. There is no tax here. I only rented a room to put my things and sleep. Ordinary transactions are not taxed. Don't think about reporting it to the officials. Just say what you want. When there are more people later, don't say anything. Otherwise, you will be beaten. No one will stop you. No tax? Do they give a place to others for free? Great philanthropist?" Li Cheng was even more confused. He thought the old man was lying to him and sneered. "Young man, go away. I don't want the money for the tea. Don't come here in the future. If you make trouble for them, you will destroy our way of life." The old man's temper also rose. He put away the things in front of Li Cheng and waved his hand like he was shooing a fly. Chapter 164. Li Cheng did not expect that the people who did business here were so supportive of the Wang family's zhuangzi. In order to find out if they really did not collect taxes, he went elsewhere to get something to sell. After changing his clothes, he carried 2 baskets of spinach and placed them there. Regardless of how many people were around, he started to shout, "Spinach! Spinach for sale! 2 caddies of fresh spinach for 1 copper coin." After shouting a few times, the people around him gathered. They all looked at him with uncomfortable eyes. Some even shook their heads, but no one was willing to buy. "Auntie, buy some spinach. It's cheap, 2 caddies for 1 copper coin." Seeing that no one was buying, Li Cheng took the initiative to call a customer. When he saw an old woman come over, he said it was cheap. The auntie curled her lips and muttered, "Why is such a good young man so greedy? 2 caddies for 1 copper coin? Wait to be driven away." Her voice was not loud, but Li Cheng still heard it. He did not understand why the auntie said he was greedy. Was the price too high? No, when he bought it, it was only 1 copper coin for 2 caddies. He also paid the taxi fare. He was not stupid enough to bring it here himself. He hired a few carriages and came here to pick it up. Just when he was puzzled, a voice came from the side. "Young Master Li has nothing to do, so you came here to have fun. Why don't you have some tea? It's my treat." "Why lie? For young Master Li's sake, I won't drive you away today. Young Master Li, please." Li Cheng looked up and saw a man wearing a coarse cloth shirt standing next to him and looking at him. "How do you know me? Who are you?" Li Cheng asked in confusion. "Young Master Li is a noble. Naturally you don't know me, but I can't not know you. You are the manager of the Li family's zhuangzi. With such a noble identity, you actually came here to sell spinach. I think your spinach is a little small and yellow. Is it from the Li family zhuangzi? The spinach there is better than this one. It's priced at 1 copper coin for 3 caddies. Did young Master Li go to a faraway place to buy expensive spinach to sell? If I had known that young Master Li would be like this, I would have sold it to young Master Li. Oh, my name is Ergo, and I'm in charge of setting the price of this market. If you want to sell your spinach, that's easy. 5 caddies for 1 copper coin." Although Ergo was speaking politely, his expression wasn't polite at all. He didn't know where Li Cheng had gotten the spinach. Not to mention the small ones, perhaps they were tender spinach. But this spinach had already turned yellow, and he still dared to sell it for 1 copper coin for 2 caddies. As for how he knew about Li Cheng, of course, it was someone who told him about it. Some of the influential people in Zhuangzi had people who specialized in collecting things and telling them to do business, including the shop assistant between the clouds and the water. He would get a piece of paper with a portrait on it, and he had to remember the important people in the vicinity. How could Li Cheng know about this? He looked at his spinach, then stood up and looked at the spinach being sold by others. He frowned and felt that the price was indeed not good enough. The seller was selling for 1 copper coin for 3 caddies. From time to time, they would sprinkle some water on the green leaves to make them look fresher. Some people who bought the spinach even deducted some water from the price after weighing it. Li Cheng saw with his own eyes that a person used a small bag of not-so-good tea leaves to exchange for 6 caddies of spinach. He left happily, and the spinach seller gave the tea leaves to the tea stall's old man. The old man took out 1 copper coin and 2 handfuls of white melon seeds, and that was it. Seeing this, Li Cheng didn't know what to do. He looked at Ergo, who was waiting at the side, and suddenly said with a smile, "So it's Brother Ergo. I've heard so much about you. Brother Ergo, I don't have extra money on me. Can I pay the tax tomorrow?" "Young Master Li, you want to put me in prison. When have we ever collected tax here? If young Master Li is willing to sell, remember to ask for 5 caddies of spinach for 1 copper coin. If you think it's cheap, you can go back to Zhuangzi. In the Li family's zhuangzi, spinach can be sold for 1 copper coin for 3 caddies of spinach. Of course, you have to pick the good ones." When Ergo heard Li Cheng's words, he knew what Li Cheng was thinking. Not to mention that there was no tax here. Even if there was in the past, it would change now. When he spoke to Li Cheng, He smiled contemptuously. This time, Li Cheng finally had no choice. He shouted to the people around him, "1 copper coin for 6 caddies of spinach. Who wants to buy it?" He wanted to sell these lousy things as soon as possible and continue to look for that master. Since he couldn't find trouble here, it would be a waste of time to stay here. He thought that if it was 1 copper coin for 6 caddies of spinach, many people would buy it. He didn't expect that after he shouted, the people around him took a few steps back at the same time. Li Cheng was confused. Ergo clearly said 1 copper coin for 5 caddies of spinach. Why didn't anyone buy it when he was selling it for 6 caddies? Just as he was thinking about it, a kind person said to him, "Ergo already said that your spinach is 1 copper coin for 5 caddies of spinach. Why don't you know what's good for you? Why do you have to sell it for 6 copper coins?" Hearing this, Li Cheng understood. Li Cheng understood. It turned out that the price was actually so evil. It was exactly how much it was set. It couldn't be too high or too low. He wasn't a fool. He immediately understood the key point. Whoever was in charge of setting the price would get the final benefit in the end. For example, there were many people selling salted eggs today. If he ordered 2 eggs for 1 copper coin, then Ergo could naturally buy a lot of them. The bulk of the business was in his hands. When there were fewer people selling salted eggs tomorrow, he would order 3 eggs for 2 copper coins. Then he would make a profit of 1 egg. This rule couldn't be underestimated. It could be used for all kinds of goods. In this way, what was the use of tax? Just by relying on the right to set the price, he could make a lot of money. It was a good method. The price was set according to the quantity and quality of the goods. Naturally, other people wouldn't have any objections. They could choose not to sell, but as long as they did, it would benefit Ergo. You're lying. You're benefiting from it. Everyone don't believe him. The price, he said, is beneficial to him. Li Cheng finally exploded. He criticized Ergo and began to persuade the people around him. In his opinion, the people would definitely scold Ergo and unite to oppose him. Who knew that after he finished speaking, the people around him looked at him as if he was an idiot. A kind person stood up and said to him, "Young man, go home and find someone to take a look at you. Ah, you're so pitiful. It's not easy to live in this world." When others heard this person's words, they nodded. It seemed that Li Cheng was seriously ill. Li Cheng was so angry that his lungs almost exploded. When he didn't know what to say, a person next to him gently pulled his sleeve. When Li Cheng turned his head to look, the person said, "Li Cheng, don't worry. Manager Li, I'm a farmer of the Li family in Zhuangzi. Don't say it. Others will think that you're sick. Who here doesn't know that Ergo benefits from setting the price? But do you know what those benefits are for? It used to be that if you want to keep the goods at night, you need to hand over something or money. Now, you don't need to do that. The money Ergo earned was used to build those warehouses for everyone. Also, look at the 4 strong men next to you. They were hired with this money. If someone comes to make trouble or bully us, the 4 of them will rush up and beat him up. Then they will send him to the authorities. Everyone knows that. Also, look at the hot weather. If someone falls down from heat stroke, Ergo will find someone to treat him. In the end, he will only take the cost. Anyway, we won't lose money here. It's better than being bullied elsewhere. Everyone is used to it. Manager Li, you'd better go do your own business." After the man finished speaking, he opened up his own stall, which was also filled with spinach. Just as Ergo had said, 1 copper coin for 3 caddies of spinach. If the people nearby wanted to eat it, they just had to take out a few copper coins or use other things to exchange for it. There were all kinds of things, and Ergo was very busy. From time to time, he would tell the people how much each item was worth. As he spoke, he took out the written sign. Not only did it show the price of something, but those who couldn't read could also calculate how much their things were worth according to the pattern on the sign. Li Cheng stood there, and no one paid attention to him anymore. He was relying on his high status, otherwise he would have been driven out long ago. This time, Li Cheng finally gave up on the matter of taxes. He didn't expect to provoke others to not listen to Ergo's price. Ergo had said that the money would be used in the market, but he was still a little unwilling. When Ergo was almost done, he found Ergo and said, "Brother Ergo, I want to buy something from you. How much do you want? For example, my spinach. How much will you pay? It's quite a lot." "The same? Then 1 copper coin for 5 caddies. I'll buy as much as you have." Ergo knew that Li Chung wasn't sincere, but he still answered him. "Then, if I buy the same spinach from you, how much for 1 caddy?" "I can buy more," Li Chung asked again. "Young Master Li, I'm not selling the spinach now. You can't buy it unless you're willing to spend more money. For example, 1 copper coin for 1 caddy, or 2 caddies for 1 copper coin," Ergo replied. "So you'll sell it if it's expensive, but not if it's cheap." "No, I won't sell it if it's expensive. If you want to buy it, you can go to between the clouds and the water. There are people there who can help you find such things, but you have to pay a certain fee." Ergo didn't give Li Chung a chance. This time, Li Chung had no choice but to thank Ergo and turn to leave. As for the spinach, he gave it to the Li family's farmer so that he could sell it and eat it back home. After walking for dozens of feet, Li Chung still felt uncomfortable in his heart. What was this? He couldn't find any trouble at all. Just as he was thinking, he suddenly found a familiar figure in front of him. He hurried 2 steps and looked again. Li Chung was happy. It was the expert he saw. He didn't expect him to come out. "Hey, the person in front, wait a minute. I have something to say. Something big," Li Chung shouted as he ran forward. That person stopped and gave Li Chung an unfathomable smile. Chapter 165. What's your surname? Li Chung felt a little better when he saw the man stop. He ran to him and asked with a smile. The man found a stone stool and sat down. He picked up a wooden stick and wrote the word Zhang on the ground. "Zhang? Good, good surname. Good, really good. My surname is Li, Li as in Muzi, Zhang. Mr. Zhang, where are you going?" Li Chung really didn't know what to call him. He felt that such a master must be teaching others, so he gave him the title of master. The man shook his head with a smile and pointed to the pond in front of him. "Oh, you're not going anywhere. You're going to the pond. I see. You want to fish? Well, I also like fishing. Why don't we go together? What kind of fishing rod do you like? I'll give it to you." No, I'm just asking." Li Chung understood again and proposed to go together. He wanted to give the man a fishing rod, but he felt that it was too obvious, so he could only change his words. At the same time, he looked at the man. The man was wearing fine linen clothes and a pair of rough linen shoes with wooden soles. He was carrying a basket in his hand, but he didn't see any fishing rod. Li Chung felt that it shouldn't be so, but he thought that a master would naturally have a master's appearance. What ordinary people could do, a master would never do. Not to mention that smile and that silent appearance showed that this man was a master. He heard that the old man Jiangxia was even more sloppy. You can't judge a book by its cover. The man smiled at him and still didn't speak. He carried the basket and walked to the pond in front of him. Li Chung naturally followed him. This kind of opportunity couldn't be missed. Otherwise, he would really regret it. The 2 people, one in front and one behind, soon arrived at the side of the pond. Li Chung saw that the man found a secluded place, put the basket down, took off his clothes and shoes, and there was a loose underwear inside. He had never seen this kind of thing before, so he felt a little strange. When he thought of the master's behavior, everything was explained. "Oh, Mr. Zhang, I know. You are going to catch fish with your bare hands. Good skill. Since I was a child, I have heard that the master could catch fish with his eyes closed in the water. Amazing. Today, I have opened my eyes." Li Chung quickly flattered. He was used to saying such words. That person smiled at him again, which made him feel that the expert's smile contained too many things. No wonder he was an expert, but he was his servant. Good. Following Li Cheng's praise, that person suddenly plunged into the ground. Li Chung waited on the shore. After a while, when the fish was thrown up, He would say a few words. Not long after, as expected, something flew out. Great, great, great lotus root. Teacher Zhang, it turns out that you want to eat lotus root. Lotus root is good. The taste is, it's so sweet when you dip it in sugar. Li Cheng's reaction was not slow, but he always thought that the master would catch fish, and was only thinking about how to praise the fish. He did not expect that the master would go into the water to catch the lotus root. It was more troublesome to change. As soon as he finished speaking, many lotus roots were thrown out one after another. He also helped to pick them up and throw them into the basket. There was a little mud on the lotus roots, but he did not mind. Of course, he had to bear with it as he was picking things for the master. After picking up almost a basket of lotus roots, that person finally came out of the water. He only showed his head a few times to catch his breath. As soon as the person came out, Li Cheng said, "Mr. Zhang, you are so good. If I were in the water, I would have been directly fed to the fish. I did not expect that you could hold it for so long. I have to learn from you in the future." That person was still smiling. He specially took out a good-looking lotus root from the basket and washed it in the water beside the pond. He handed it to Li Cheng and pointed at the lotus leaves in the water. Then, he carried the basket and walked back. "Mr. Zhang, I understand. You are telling me that everything is born from the root. I understand. It is to-do. I am not good at speaking and can't say it. I hope that Mr. Zhang can teach me more in the future." Li Cheng held the lotus root in his hand and tried to think about what it meant. Fortunately, he had learned something from the young master and said what he could think. Hearing his words, that person stopped and took out a short lotus root from the basket on his back. He opened his mouth and bit it. After biting it, he showed it to Li Cheng with a comfortable smile on his face. This time, Li Cheng was confused. He looked at the lotus root carefully, then looked at the master, and then looked at the lotus root in his hand. He used his strength to break it. A slight crisp sound was heard. The lotus root had been broken by him, but it was not completely broken. There was something in it that was still connected. That person shook his head and walked in the direction of the main house again, leaving Li Cheng standing there in a daze. After a while, that person's figure was about to enter the main house's courtyard. Li Cheng opened his eyes wide and hurriedly chased after him. Before he could say anything, he knelt down in front of the man and said respectfully, "Mr. Zhang, I got it. You're telling me that the lotus root is easy to break, but the silk is hard to cut. Even if the lotus root is broken, the silk is still connected. This is the officialdom. This is something for people. Thank you, Mr. Zhang. Isn't this young masterly? Why are you in the mansion? What are you looking for on the ground?" The gatekeeper was about to come out and take the basket in Big Mute's hand. When he saw Li Cheng, he was puzzled. He could say that he was in the mansion now. The master was an official. In the past, he had to say courtyard. Although it was a simple name, for him it was a special thing. "Big Mute, your lotus root is good. The young master and the young lady must like to eat it. It seems that you are the best swimmer in Zhuangzi." The gatekeeper asked Li Cheng, and then said something to the master in Li Cheng's eyes. He carried the basket of lotus root to the small room next door and was going to send it to the kitchen later. Big Mute smiled and gestured to the gatekeeper. Then he pointed at Li Cheng and said, "Ah. I know. It turns out that young Master Li treats you as a teacher. Haha, Big Mute, you are really good. Go in quickly. By the way, go and see the person who is chopping the wood for the madam's courtyard. That guy is always playing tricks. If you don't watch him, he won't work properly." The gatekeeper naturally knew what Big Mute gestured. After he left, he said to Li Cheng, "Young Master Li, please get up quickly. That person is a handyman in the courtyard, not a teacher. If you want to find a teacher, you can go to the school. A master. You are indeed extraordinary. So you hid here and were willing to be a handyman. You must have been waiting for the arrival of a wise master. Shut up. What do you mean by a teacher in a school? Although he didn't say it, I know. What do you mean by a mute? That is called silence. Forget it. You are just a gatekeeper. Even if I tell you, you won't understand. This is because you are used to the vicissitudes of the world. You have nothing to say. Your young master and young lady have received so many benefits from him. How dare you talk to him like this? You wait. I will come tomorrow to take the master back. Wait. Li Chengjiao scolded the dumbfounded gatekeeper and said that he would come back tomorrow. He took the broken thing and turned around to leave. After walking a dozen steps, he turned around and glared at the gatekeeper. When the gatekeeper was wondering which one of them was crazy, he gradually walked away. Ridiculous. Let's go. Send the lotus root to the kitchen. The gatekeeper picked up the basket and muttered something he learned from the young master. Then he slowly moved to the kitchen. The next day, the sky was very cloudy. Some old people knew that it was going to rain heavily. Li Cheng didn't care about this. He came as promised. This time, he didn't come alone. There were a few people behind him. They carried a lot of boxes. When they arrived at the gate, they said to the gatekeeper, "The Li family's housekeeper in Zhuangzi wants to see Teacher Zhang." "Who is it?" "Young Master Li. There is no Teacher Zhang in Zhangjie Zhuangzi. There are a few teachers in the school over there. There is no one with the surname Zhang." "What are you?" The gatekeeper was stunned. He didn't expect that this person who should be resting at home would come again. "Don't lie to me. I know. Zhuangzi is so powerful now because of him. Don't worry, I don't mean any harm. Yesterday, when I said that I would take you back, it was just a joke. Look, I brought gifts today. This is the list of gifts." When Li Cheng saw the gatekeeper's expression, he knew that the Zhang family had hidden him. Unfortunately, it was too late. He already knew. Where could he hide now? "Young Master Li, please wait a moment. I will go in and report." The gatekeeper was also stunned. This kind of thing was not for him to handle. He had to run back to the housekeeper. After a while, housekeeper Zhang hurried over and said to Li Cheng, "Young Master Li, please come in. I didn't know you were coming and didn't welcome you. Please forgive me." When Li Cheng heard this, he felt a little awkward. Just now, the gatekeeper said that it was in the mansion. This steward Zhang also said the same. "I know that your master is an official, rank 7. Do you have to call it a mansion? What a big place." Li Cheng cursed in his heart, but he couldn't say it out loud. After all, there was a master here. Steward Zhang is too polite. "I actually have something to discuss in your mansion. Steward Zhang, please." Li Cheng looked at the courtyard wall. He felt that he was going against his conscience. As he spoke, he invited each other into the courtyard. Oh no, the mansion. After they sat down in the living room, someone served them tea. The others were arranged to sit in another place. Steward Zhang placed the list of gifts on the table and said to Li Cheng, "Young Master Li, what brings you to my humble home?" Li Cheng didn't know what to say. He thought to himself, "You are just a housekeeper. Can't you talk about other things first, and then ask me why I am here? You just said it. Now you are at my humble home." After taking a sip of tea, Li Cheng smiled and said, "It's nothing. I just bought the Li family's farm and couldn't find the time. Now that I have time, I naturally want to pay a visit to your manor. The other thing is that I heard that there is a teacher in your manor who has been a friend of mine for a long time. I wonder if you could introduce me to him." Chapter 166. "Oh, are you talking about Mr. Zhang?" Steward Zhang tried to think of such a person and said, Yes. Li Cheng echoed. "What does he look like?" "You don't know. There are so many things in the mansion these days, including the new teacher. I can't see him for a while. Alas, it's hard to be a housekeeper. If it's normal." Yes. Steward Zhang is right. It's hard. But Mr. Zhang seems to have been in your mansion before, right? Li Cheng interrupted Steward Zhang's complaint and pointed out the main topic directly. "Before? There was no such person before. Did you remember wrongly?" Steward Zhang still couldn't remember which one was Mr. Zhang. Li Chung quickly shook his head and said firmly, "Yes, I saw him yesterday. He went to the pond to pick lotus roots and gave me a lotus root. He let me know that the lotus root is still connected when it's broken." "Oh, so the lotus root is still connected when it's broken." Yes, there is such a thing. You can't break the lotus root directly. You need to cut it with a knife. It's very difficult to make. I heard people say so. Is he the cook in your mansion?" Steward Zhang followed. He didn't know how to respond. He just followed whatever Li Chung said. "Steward Zhang. His name is Demute. He's not a cook. He's Mr. Zhang." Li Chung was annoyed. He just thought that Steward Zhang was too straightforward. Now he took back this idea. If he didn't be more direct, he wouldn't be able to get the answer. Steward Zhang was stunned. He blinked and stared at Li Chung. "Are you talking about Demute?" "Yes, it's him." "Mr. Zhang?" Steward Zhang doesn't want to admit it? Li Chung asked. No. "Well, Mr. Li, please try this tea. I'll be back soon." Steward Zhang now understood that Li Chung had taken Demute for some teacher Zhang, and even made a connection. It sounded good, so he didn't dare to be negligent. This matter must be told to the young master and the young lady. As long as he told them, he believed that the two little ancestors would know what was going on. Looking at the receding figure of Steward Zhang, Li Chung sneered, put the teacup on the table, and said to himself, "You leaked it. You want to cheat in front of me? Don't you know what I do? Xiao Bao, there's a blister on your leg, but there's no pus inside. It looks like you'll be able to participate in the next desert survival training in 2 days. Do you still want to go?" In the room, Wang Wan looked at the blister on her leg and asked Zhang Xiaobao. "Of course, why not? I just want to scare that imperial nephew and let him know the difficulty of survival in the wild. Then he can devote more energy to it. Once he has nothing to do, he will go back to Zhuangzi of the Li family. I'm sure he will miss us. This is only the first time, so it's only the first phase. After the training is over, I'll give him some new ideas and come up with a second phase and a third phase. Each time, it's more difficult and dangerous than the last. I don't believe that he won't be fascinated. If you want to figure out the thoughts of people like him, you have to do something to prove it to others. Then give him a chance." Zhang Xiaobao put down the blister on his leg and explained to Wang Wan while lying on the couch. Wang Wan was a little worried. If we always beat him, will he hate us? What if he loses his confidence? Why do we have to beat him? We have to let him feel that he can still become stronger. Hope is always in front of him. It's also good to teach him something. This is the result of many years of experience. When the time comes, he will take credit for it. Just treat it as a contribution to our current national army. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the wound on his leg as he spoke. It healed quickly. It was just a blister. In 2 days, he would participate in the survival in the desert. There was no delay. The desert was not as simple as the grassland. At that time, he would let Li Sun know what survival in the desert was. Unfortunately, how could it be called survival in the wild with some water? "Oh, then we'll do as you say." Wang Wan agreed to Zhang Xiaobao's proposal. "Little master, little miss, it's not good." That person called Li Chung came over and asked Mr. Zhang, who was also Big Mute, about Zhuangzi. He said that Mr. Zhang taught him the lotus root and silk connection. I just asked him. Yesterday, he met Big Mute. Big Mute was there picking lotus roots. What's going on? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had just finished discussing when Steward Zhang hurriedly ran over. He explained the matter and repeated the details of the conversation. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other and nodded at the same time. Zhang Xiaobao said, "It seems that our Zhuangzi has been targeted. Cuckoo and I performed a little better at the ranch. They won't think that we did it ourselves. They will only think that someone taught us behind the scenes. In that case, Big Mute has been recognized as a master. That's good. You go and tell Big Mute that from now on he is a master. He will occasionally meet that Li Chung. Every time, he has to do a certain action. I will design this action. He can only do one action at a time. He can't stay in contact for too long. After he's done, he has to leave. As for you guys, if you want to treat him as Big Mute, do as you did before. Do what you should do. Don't treat him as if he has a high status. That's not as good as what he is now. After Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, he used the brush to practice calligraphy just now to draw a few things and gave them to Steward Zhang. Got it, little master. You're so smart. You don't need to meet him. You know what Li Cheng is thinking just by listening to those words. Steward Zhang respectfully took the things and said sincerely. Then he turned and left. When he came to the door of the living room, he sighed in his heart and said to himself, "It's over. Li Cheng, you should run away quickly. Poor child. Why did you come here for no reason?" For days passed quickly. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's bodies had recovered. They only had a few scratches. Children's bodies grew fast, leaving only a few faint scars on their legs. "Xiaobao, the new one is about to start. When are we leaving? Li Cheng comes here every day. We should meet today. What is it?" Wang Wan packed herself up and was ready to go there. She urged Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao was almost done with his preparations. This time, the two of them took a bigger shovel. Since there was water in the desert, the most worrisome thing was the temperature of the sun. During the day, they had to dig a hole and bury themselves. In addition to the shovel, they also had to bring a foldable lantern. Whether they slept at night or not, the two had decided to march at night to teach Li Sun a lesson. He should not think that he could run as fast as he did during the day in the desert. After packing the backpack, Zhang Xiaobao said, "Let's go immediately." Today, Li Cheng should have figured out how to divide a circle into 4 equal parts. In fact, it's very simple. I just don't know how he did it. I haven't divided him into 5 equal parts yet. Let's go. After speaking, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan went out of the house. Pomegranate and the other 3 were already waiting outside. 2 beautiful cars were parked outside the gate. These days, Zhang Xiaobao paid for the repair of the courtyard wall of the Zhang mansion. The original one was really not suitable. A 7th-grade official was still an official, just like the county magistrate. It was just that he did not have a real position. Pomegranate and the other 3 were full of confidence for this competition in the desert. They believed that there was nothing that could be difficult for the young master and the young lady. The 2 cars left Zhuangzi one after the other and headed in the direction of Dinging County. There was a small piece of sand there. This small piece was bigger than the other places. It was enough for the children to run around. It would take them a few days to finish running. Dingping County was not far from Luochuan County. It was assumed that Li Sun would bring people there directly. This time, it was unknown how many people would not participate, and it was even more unclear who would join. Once the number of people decreased, Li Sun would definitely recruit people on the spot. Otherwise, who would he train? The 2 cars were not in a hurry. It took them 2 days to arrive at the place. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan got out of the car and stood there with backpacks on their backs, laughter could be heard from the crowd that Li Sun had led first. Some people even whispered that the 2 of them were stupid for carrying such a big backpack in the desert. None of the people who had participated in the grassland survival training a few days ago echoed the laughter and chatter of these people. They all looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan with reverence. They had seen the abilities of these 2 people. On the first day, they made food. On the second day, they were in the lead all the way. On the third day, they were in the lead. On the third day, they were in the lead. On the morning of the third day, they had left an indelible impression in their hearts. Even if Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not participate on the third day, these people still left the first place to the 2 of them in their hearts. People of a younger age group were actually able to suppress people of a higher age group to the point that they could not raise their heads. This was ability. Ha ha ha, look at those 2 silly children. They are actually carrying such a big backpack. Hey, don't you think so? Why don't you say something? A person who joined in later laughed loudly. He touched the person next to him and asked. He wanted to get a sound of agreement, but found that person standing there with a serious face, looking at the two children who had just gotten out of the car in front of him. What should I say? You are a fool? Do you know who they are? They are the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan from Tuqiao Village, Sanshui County. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan from Zhuangzi. Wait until you can hold on and stop crying. Then you can laugh at them. This was the 11-year-old who had participated in the grassland survival training. He did not dare to laugh at the two of them. At this time, a person about 10 years old came out of the group. He came to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and said to them, Are you Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan who are rumored to be gods? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan from Tuqiao Village? Yes, we are. Who are you? Zhang Xiaobao calmly faced this person and asked in a light tone. Wang Wan stood next to him, as if she did not hear anything, and looked around. I am your neighbor. Didn't your family just get a piece of land? The other side of the land is my family's Zhuangzi. We may often meet in the future. This person curled his lips and said. Chapter 167. Sand covered the ground, and a gentle breeze blew. The withered grass and yellow leaves curled up, and there was no wind or rain for many days. The sun shone brightly, and the people spoke, helpless and unsurprised, who could avoid benefits. After the 10-year-old child finished speaking, Zhang Xiaobao smacked his lips and exhaled through his nose, and looked at the child calmly. Neighbors? It's good to be neighbors. In the future, we can help each other. When the Zhang family and Wang family have difficulties in Zhuangzi, we will definitely find your village to help. What a joke. Who will help each other with you? You're just a 7th-rank official. How can you be so capable? Fengzhou is just a small province. How can it compare to the land of my capital? The 10-year-old child didn't seem to hear the polite meaning in Zhang Xiaobao's words. He really thought that the Zhang family and Wang family in Zhuangzi wanted to curry favor with his family. So he sneered and said these words. Haha. Zhang Xiaobao also laughed. He suddenly thought that the person in front of him was just a child. Did he expect him to understand the meaning behind some words? Zhang Xiaobao didn't want to lower himself to the same level as this person. It was useless, and he couldn't get any benefits. It was a waste of saliva. Wang Wan didn't want to let it go. At this time, she stopped looking around and smiled sweetly, saying to the person, Now that you mention it, I know that Feng province is only for those who are not capable. Those who are capable all move to the capital city. It's a blessing that our family can be connected to the capital city like you. Brother, you must take care of our family in the future. After all, we are just ordinary people in Feng province. Isn't that right, brother? Yes, that's right. You know what's good for you. Those who are capable are all in the capital, and those who are incompetent are in this kind of place. It's a barren place, Sai. It's not easy, otherwise, why would we be in trouble? When the person heard Wang Wan's words, he was happy and puffed out his chest. He continued to speak for Wang Wan. There were many locals beside him, and their expressions turned ugly when they heard what he said. This was not the most important thing. Li Sun also came over at this time and wanted to talk to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan about the desert survival training. He felt that the master must have taught them a lot. He heard the conversation between the three of them clearly. At first, he didn't think much of what Zhang Xiaobao and this person said. However, when he heard what Wang Wan said and that person said, he couldn't take it anymore. His father was now the provincial governor of Benzhou. He even bought some land in Sanshui County and became a Zhuangzi. The capital government was stronger than other places, but to Li Sun, it was only a place in the palace that allowed him to restrain himself. How could he be looked down upon by a commoner? Seeing the arrogant look on that person's face, Li Sun didn't even think about it. He took 2 steps forward and slapped that person. You said it was a barren place? Could it be that you're happy that Benzhou is in trouble? Your Zhuangzi is next to Sanshui County. Could it be that there's enough rain? This marquis will remember these words. This year, your Zhuangzi pays 1 cent less in taxes takes 1 cent less, and has one less person to work. Don't blame this marquis for going to the palace to complain. Tomorrow, that is, tomorrow. Naturally, someone will go to your Zhuangzi to check the land. If there are more than the deeds, your Zhuangzi is deceiving the emperor and disregarding the laws of the imperial court. Humph, the outskirts of the capital. What great ability! The emperor has not yet determined the status of the people. You, a Zhuangzi, can determine the status of the people in Great Tang. Li Sun's first words were easy to say, but the last sentence was a big accusation. What he meant was that the emperor had not yet determined which place the people were noble or poor. You, a Zhuangzi from the outskirts of the capital, are speaking for the emperor about which place is not good. This accusation was enough to exterminate an entire family. The emperor had always said that he loved his brothers. If Peng province was not good, then why did the emperor put his brothers in Peng province? Did he want his brothers to suffer? How could he throw his brothers here in such a remote place? No, that's not what I meant. This person naturally knew who was speaking. It was the young marquis. Although there were more marquises, even the youngest marquis was still the face of the imperial family. Just now, he was too busy talking and did not expect to offend someone he could not afford to offend. If these words were to come from the mouth of the imperial nephew, not to mention the land, he would not even be able to keep his life. To gloat over the drought, to determine the status of the people in each province for the imperial court, to accuse the emperor of neglecting his brothers. How many people could one Zhuangzi be enough to kill? This person did not know what to say. There were so many people listening, and the imperial nephew was on the side. The crime was already decided. Fortunately, this person's family had taught him well and knew what to do at this time. Why is the moon in the sky so big? I saw Chang Yi coming with a donkey in her arms. Hee hee, gold. This place is full of gold. Look, it's a sea of yellow. Hurry up and help me pack the gold. This person suddenly laughed and said. Then he ordered the guards who followed him on Zhuangzi. The people who followed him were also scared to the point of breaking out in cold sweat. Now that they saw their young master's behavior, of course, they knew what to do. They pulled their young master and said to Li Sun and the people around them, "My young master's health has been poor since he was young. He always says some crazy things." In just a short while, he actually fell ill again. "Sai, please don't mind him. My young master will recover in a few hours. If he falls ill again, it will take at least half a month. It will not affect tomorrow's survival in the desert. I will take him back first." What a sin. Young master, wake up. You were fine yesterday. How did you become like this today? Young master, wake up. As the guard spoke, they dragged the person who was still talking about the green grassland away. Humph, acting like a fool. You're lucky this time. The place where the Zhang family and Wang family live next to each other in Zhuangzi seems to be adjacent to the Li family's Zhuangzi. Let's wait and see. Li Sun was not a fool. She naturally understood what was going on. She pretended to be sick to escape. If it was not for the fact that she did not want to delay her survival training, she would not have pretended to be sick. Even if she was really sick, it would not have worked. Xiaobao, looks like I'll have something to do in the future. This child is arrogant and can play dumb. His family must be extraordinary. My peaceful life is going to end again. Wang Wan looked at what was happening in front of her. After her scheme succeeded, she smiled and winked at Zhang Xiaobao. How dare you say that I'm bad? I don't think you're a good person either. It's just one more neighbor. There's no need to be afraid. Let's have some friction first. It won't affect our business. With an opponent by our side, we can always be vigilant. Zhang Xiaobao did not feel much about this matter. They were just neighbors, so what could they do to each other? He already had an imperial nephew by his side. Why would he be afraid of one more? I know you don't care. He won't dare to provoke Li Sun. He'll turn his hatred on us. Wang Wan pulled Zhang Xiaobao to a resting area and said. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. You shouldn't say that. You should say that no matter if he offends Li Sun or not, we'll still hate him. As long as there's a chance, I'll keep causing trouble for his family. If there's no chance, I'll create an opportunity to cause trouble for his family. I'll let him know what it means to be not afraid of thieves stealing, but to be afraid of thieves remembering. You're going to take the initiative to cause trouble for others. Wang Wan knew what Zhang Xiaobao meant. She was a little uncertain. Why should I wait for others to slap me first before I retaliate? I don't like the look of him, so I'll stab him. Zhang Xiaobao said righteously. You're like a cooked duck. You're so stubborn. There are so many people. Why don't you scheme against them? Why do you have to wait for them to come over and say a few words before you make a move? Isn't that a passive response? Yes, I'm passive. There are so many people in the world. If I always take the initiative to provoke others, how can I do anything else? I'll find some time to buy a few sheep and put them in ice water. After they get sick from the cold, I'll put them over there. When they see it, as long as they bring it home, we'll wait and see if there's a sheep flu. Zhang Xiaobao took small steps and was still thinking about how to scheme against others. Wang Wan burst out laughing. What sheep flu? Is that illness caused by the cold? Why not? I've had a cold before. It's the same for sheep. If you don't believe me, just wait and see. Zhang Xiaobao used his own personal experience to prove it. I think you're sick too. Hurry up and rest for the night. We'll enter the desert tomorrow. Why don't I remember there being a desert here? Wang Wan quickened her pace. She really didn't want to discuss with Zhang Xiaobao whether the cold could be transmitted to sheep. Geological changes. The river you see now is different from that time. Shanghai is not so far away. The people of Nauru don't have to worry about digging dung and not having a place to live. Is there anyone there now? It's better to go and occupy it one day and ship it here. It's not enough for the ship. Go in and sleep. There's no sunscreen in this broken place. These 2 days are not good. When we're done, we can go directly to Africa to dig for diamonds. It's just as black. Wang Wan pushed Zhang Xiaobao into the tent and complained casually. Young master, okay, we're back. That was close. We were almost caught. The man who didn't pay attention to his words was finally sent back to the tent by his guards. A guard wiped the sweat on his forehead and was frightened. Humph. You made me offend the royal nephew, Zhangjia Zhuangzi of the Wang family. I'll remember. Don't let me get the chance, or I'll let them die together. This young master, as Wang Wan said, did not dare to offend Li Sun. He put all his hatred on Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Zhuangzi. He narrowed his eyes, and a trace of ferocity appeared on his gloomy face. Young master is right. We definitely can't let those two families have an easy time. Originally, old master also wanted to spend money to buy that place, but he actually let them get away with it. There are many trees on that mountain, and burning them into charcoal will not be a small amount. The guard who spoke just now followed young master's words. The young master was satisfied. He looked outside the tent. Tomorrow, I'll follow them and give them some trouble. It's best to let them die in the desert. That you're tuning in to the Echo Reads YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.